Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2023. We're going to be really, really fast because the race has already started here.
Yes.
Let's head straight over to Alex and Nico. Boom. Go, go, go!
Yay.
Thank you very much, Luke and Matt. We are underway, and there has been drama on the opening lap out of 116 for the feature race for the 2023 ADAC Digital GT500. Nico, it's like everyone's just decided to go for it. And you can't win an endurance race like this on the opening lap, but you can lose it.
I mean, they certainly tried in turn 1 and turn 2. I saw one car get spun around. I think that was the grid and go car. But god damn, there's been so much stuff happening. I think one of the BMWs tried to dive bomb into turn 2 as well. So glad to see that all cars are still pretty much running.
Yeah, the absolute motorsport cars are literally running side by side. Like Rendalton's got Reiter Engineering to the immediate inside in that particular occasion, going through into Rint as they head down through into Red Bull Mobile Corner, the final out of 10 turns around this 4.318 kilometre circuit. Williams Esports Chill Blast with Sammy Matthew Trogan behind the wheel has a lead ahead of Lucas Miller from Falcon Sim Racing Team. Williams Esports Razor with Moreno Sarica taking the opening stint. He's one of the two drivers that are defending their title this year. A little bit further back, the Pro Sport Sim Racing blue and red cars are running in formation as they look to, well, one looks to dive up the inside. That's the 17, which has got Philip Didassus behind the wheel. Makes the move nicely on the 69. Alessandro Porta behind the wheel of that one. We are going to be having some, we're going to have some scheduled interviews during the duration of the Digital GT500 with some of the teams. All 14 teams are on site battling for their share of a prize pool of €15,000 combined, which has been modified since the amount of entries that have come through. Products are looking up the inside possibly to get through. Meanwhile, the number 69 Absolute Motorsport car has got past Reiter Engineering for 9th place, and here is the battle at the front end of the field. Lap 2 out of 116, now into turn 9 at Rint. Down the hill, a steep elevation downward spiral here at the Red Bull Ring here, Nico. And everyone's using as much of that final 10th corner. Oh, slow down penalty for Falcon Sim Racing.
I was going to say that looked very, very wide. And, well, that's the problem. You have to slow down penalties very quickly. And iRacing is actually quite strict with that. So they're going to bite in their own behind there. That is a mistake that they can't afford to make early on in the race. However, we still have 113 laps to go, and now they're basically going to focus on pushing until the end to try and get this distance back to the front guys.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You're going to see a lot of battling up and down the order. You're going to see fuel strategies taken into account. The only car on this grid, out of the manufacturers represented, is Ferrari with a 10 kilogram additional weight penalty through the balance of performance that has been part and parcel of the Digital GT500. No! The Porsche, the Pro Sport Sim Racing blue car ended up spinning around, nearly got collected by the sister car. So they're both at the back end of the field in 13th and 14th. So that is a real shame. Sean Terra, the youngest driver for the second year in a row, who is still 13, is running in the first stint for the number 19 car, the Pro Sport Sim Racing red entry, as we complete lap 3 of 116, the feature race. We've had 2 qualifying races so far. Moreno Sarica starting to close the gap on Sammy Matthew Togan, gets about a 1/10 of a second quicker, and also pumps in the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 28.905. Sammy Matthew Trogan, a 1 minute 29.017. So it's minimal in terms of the disadvantage that Moreno Sarica has between himself and Sammy Matthew Trogan.
Yeah, for sure. The problem here is basically just getting the consistency in to keep going that 10 faster. And right now, I'd say up to like 7, 8 tenths, that's still space where you are within the slipstream on the long straights of this track. So it's really about managing to stay within this 7, 8 tenth window. and then trying to stay clear as well, as much as possible out of dirty air through like altering your lines a little bit so you can keep alive the tires for a little bit longer when you're following someone.
Yeah, indeed. So it is thick and fast at the front end of the field on lap 4 of 119 of the ADAC Digital GT500. So Williams Esports Chill Blast leading the Williams 1-2. We're going to go to a brief replay. Here's the start that we're going to see. So it's side-by-side rolling start formation. Sami Matti-Trojan gets the jump on the Falcon Sim Racing car, which swerves left and right beside him. Moreno Sarica gets a good jump. You've got the 450 of Grid for Go going up the inside and ends up spinning around, but regathers that car back onto the circuit. A full 360 there. Bit of Gymkhana-esque requirement. But that just goes to show how thick and fast it's going to be over the course of the ADAC Digital GT500. 116 laps of this 4.318 kilometre circuit. So, Williams Chillblast, Williams Razor, Door Esports, Thomas Enger Sim Racing, and Falcon Sim Racing team round out the top 5. Racing Lab Esports, one of the last teams to actually get here in Dortmund, RP6. Another replay. Well, this is the incident. Oh, well, the number 17 hit the back of Ricer Engineering and put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. So that was a real shame for the number 17 car. But we're now going to go to, well, in very short time, we're just waiting for things to be up. Thank you very much for the heads up. my bad on that one. But we are going to have a multitude of interviews from some of the teams that are going to be here on site competing live. They are competing at the team boxes or at the booths here at the Digital GT500, and they will be here so you can see everything from a full perspective. If you want to come to the stage and watch the racing as it happens, feel free. If you want to walk around and do so, be our guest. You're here to enjoy the show as much as we are. So I'm just waiting to be notified once we get things underway with our first of our many interviews that we'll have over the course of the Digital GT500. So without further ado, let's hand it over to Luke on the main stage as he's got our first interviewee ready to talk.
Yeah, the race is well underway now here for the GT500. I am joined by Grid and Go manager and driver, Gabriel Streitmatter. How you doing, mate? You all good?
Well, yes. A bit of stress in the first couple of laps, but I think it's a very, very long race and we should be able to get back. Yeah, a lot of fun. The Expo is a very great event. I think all of us enjoy it. We're having a lot of fun, especially meeting a lot of very nice people here. Not only the commentating team here, the guys from the production, also our teammates, which we only know from Discord and stuff. So yeah, it's nice to meet all the people in person, and I really enjoyed the event.
What's it going to take to get back into this race and potentially go out there and win it?
Well, the guys should be able to get on pace. I think they practice a lot. We had a bit of preparation. Of course, not optimal in a foreign rig that we're not really used to, but I think maybe we'll get a bit of luck with the safety car. We had a bit of a problem at the start, had a small spin, but it's a very long race. We have 3 pit stop, I think, so maybe a bit of luck. We should be able to keep the pace, and then we'll see how it goes.
Nice one. I hear you've got a special livery this weekend. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, yes. You see where guys are normally driving in the blue and yellow colors, very bright, but this time we're running a special livery for the Stefan Morsch Stiftung, the Stefan Morsch Foundation, who are supporting a very good cause of stem cell donations. So I think there should be, well, somewhere over here. So make sure to give them a little visit. Donate some stem cells. It doesn't hurt. It's just like a corona test, basically. You just put a thing in your mouth, and yeah, you can maybe help some people cure cancer, which is, I think, a very good thing.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, mate. Good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
And now let's head back over to Alex and Nico.
Thank you very much, Luke. So the action has been thick and fast as we rejoin the action. A bit of a nice cheer from the audience there. Great to have Grid and Go with us, and great to see that they're supporting such a worthy cause, and great to have Stefan Morsch Stiftung here with us as they have a stand so you can feel free to go over to the cafeteria. Just buy one of the cars they've got there is the Toyota GR Corolla, which has the same power plant in it as the current GR Yaris. But we concentrate now, Nico, on this battle. This is for 10th in the field at the moment. We're riding on board on the back bumper with the 001 GridandGo.com eSports car, who has got the number 88 of Absolute Motorsport 8 in the Ferrari. They've got Ren Velton and Pro Sport Sim Racing Reds, Sean Terra. Sean Terra might be on a bit of a tear at the moment because he's trying to pull alongside the Ren Velton BMW. He was very close to the cones on the right-hand side of the elevation upscale through here into Remus. Has to back out of it, looks for a move up the inside through Remus. That's great work there from Sean Terra, and he's in the perfect car to make that kind of manoeuvre.
Absolutely. Other cars would struggle here. All the front engine cars, of course, and even mid-engine cars, because there's not quite a lot of weight still on the rear axle. But the Porsche rear engine always has been, except for the Porsche 911 RSR, obviously.
Yeah.
But just perfect for this kind of situation. Going over a crest, and you're still going to have weight on the rear axle. You have a lot of traction, and you just fly off. So very well executed move from them. After they got very unlucky earlier, the blue car spinning, and inadvertently, obviously not on purpose, and just the worst timeline for them, so to say, holding up their teammates' car as well, and they're slowly making their way back up. Same as the Stefan Morsch Stiftung team.
Yeah, we've had a couple of incidents investigated by Race Control, which were actually put up on the screen earlier on. Incident between car 1 and car 88. Now, car 1 being the Grid and Go Esports Mercedes and the 88 of Absolute Motorsport 8th in the number 88 car, which is currently running P11. We are riding on board with Moreno Sorica, who is about 3.5 tenths of a second behind Sami Mati Troga. There was another incident involving cars 8, 88 and 69 on lap 1. That has been declared a racing incident. That would be the number 8 BMW. And that would be involving Jason Dominic Beck, or Dominic Beck. That's for the Ren Velton Esports iRacing crew. And then you had the, then again, Absolute Motorsport 88 coming into the mark. And then the number 69 car, that was the sister Absolute Motorsport car as well. So it was a bit close for comfort, a bit squeaky bum time for the Absolute Motorsport teams. But we're now coming back to this battle here. This is Falcon Sim Racing versus Thomas Enger Sim Racing. Of course, for those that do know, Thomas Enger, Czech Republic driver, has had a lot of success in sports cars, also works alongside Reiter Engineering as part of his career, but also is an ex-F1 driver. I have seen him walking around the hall here at the Expo. Not had the chance to actually sort of like say, hi, how are you? You know, that kind of thing. But there's been a lot of activity around here at the Expo, and it's really, really good that we have got quite a few people here watching. So, and also thank you to everyone that's been watching the 3 days of streams that we've been providing on our dedicated YouTube and Twitch channels. It really, really does mean a lot for you to also, you know, if you're not able to make it here, you can always make it here next year, and for the year after, and the year after, and the year after, because the ADAC SimRacing Expo is here for the next 5 years at Dortmund. As Southwest Vision CEO Marco said earlier on in his opening speech, yeah, looking forward to being here for 5 years, maybe a little bit more. But of course, this sets the foundation for what the future of sim racing is going to evolve into and what it looks like. But Moreno Sorica has been lapping about 1.5 tenths quicker than Sami Matti Trogan over the last couple of laps, Nico. The defending champions look to be, despite that second race, where Moreno Sorica was given a 15-second time post-race penalty, is looking rather strong.
Yeah, they made the most out of their starts. Obviously also a little bit of chaos behind them and around them, but they played their cards very, very well. Speaking of playing their cards very well, after that slowdown penalty, Falcon Sim Racing team already back up in 4th place, so they're also not here to play around.
Now this is getting tasty, this one right here. Sean Terra is trying to go round the outside of Andrea Dalle Valle. They're going into Rint at turn 9. Sean Terra pulls to the inside, neatly hits the apex, runs the car out a little bit wide coming out of the corner. Through turn number 10, the Porsche is going to have the legs on the Ferrari, as now we see the slipstream effect. We ride on board with the number 19 Pro Sports Sim Racing car, and he's going to make the move through. He got there before they even hit the apex a Nicky Lauda corner. That was a great move again. Sean Serra, one of the youngest drivers, if not, well, is for the second year in a row, the youngest competitor in the ADAC Digital GT500. And what's more, again, he showed that 10 months ago, he was one to watch. Now, he's one that we can watch and enjoy what he brings to the party.
Almost sounds like you couldn't enjoy watching him before. But
He was actually really good last week.
I'm joking.
I know. I'm being sarcastic.
But yeah, as we can see here, Pro Sport on a charge after that unfortunate mishap a couple laps ago. The second car also having caught up to Rennwelten now, two tenths behind that. So I think they're looking to make moves soon as well. So I think if it goes on like this with Grid and Go and Reiter caught in the middle, I think Pro Sport's aim is obviously going to be attack the two Absolute Motorsport cars and show them which of the two car entry teams is going to be the more dominant, other than Williams, of course, who are just flying away right now.
Well, there's Rennwelten, who got that's the number 17. Oh, that was a bit of a squeeze through turn 9 and spins.
He couldn't catch it.
Well, luckily he didn't go off any further off track. Did Philip Dillisus on that one. That's going to give Victor Brill a bit of a mountain to climb, quite literally, here at the GT500. But the gap between Williams Esports Chill Blast and Razor is now dropping to about 3 and a bit tenths of a second. Now, we have to start talking strategy, Nico. I know we're only 12 laps in out of 116, but of course, with the fact that there's been a balance of performance adjustment done to make sure it's as fair as possible, so everyone's, well, you talked about BOP. Let's have a look at the replay here. So comes through. Got a little touch.
I think that might have been a hit, yeah.
That was a little bit of a tap from behind, courtesy of Rennwelten. And Philip Dillisus ends up spinning round at the final corner at Red Bull Mobile.
Naughty.
Yes, there might be more than just a slap on the wrist from race control on that one, possibly. But they are the ones that make the ultimate decision. We can give our 2 cents on it.
Yeah.
We can provide an opinion. That's what we're here to do. But talking about strategy, we've got 116 laps. They've got 70% of the traditional fuel capacity for a full run. Now, it's 116 laps of the Red Bull Ring, exactly measures 500.89 kilometres. What would you say, if you were looking at attacking this race with a 2-car team, you being one of the drivers, what would your strategy be in the first stint?
It would all depend. If it's like multiple cars in your team, it would all depend where the 2 cars are placed. If they're close together, then I'd basically focus on them, giving each other slipstream, trying to always fight single opponents but together. Get the first car past, hold up the guy, and then, maybe block him a little bit, within legal limits, of course, and help your teammate go through. And then, just rinse and repeat, move further up. This is one of these tracks where overall in GT cars you don't have too extreme tire wear normally when you're just driving right behind each other. And there's enough alternate lines you can take to work against tire wear. Mm-hmm. And so you can, in a double, you are always able to make some better moves and make better progress, I think.
Yeah, of course. But now we ride on board with the Thomas Enger Sim Racing number 18 BMW M4 GT3. Lukas Prada behind the wheel of that one, partnering with Lukas Lindqvist, who was racing in qualifying race number 2 earlier on. Let's see if the BMW can close in a little bit on the Mercedes down the start-finish straight. Very much a significant elevation change, around about sort of 18 to 20 degrees of ascent going through on the start-finish straight. And when you go to the Red Bull Ring, that ascent looks significantly different to what it would do either on here or on a TV screen if you're watching something like DTM, Formula One, ADAC GT Masters. But this is a really, really good battle. Oh, a little bit of a slight cheeky nudge there, I think, from the number 18. Got very close to the back of the Falcon Sim Racing crew in the number 44. This just goes to show how closely compact this field is in many respects. But there are a few battles up and down the order, pretty much all the way through, most of the way through the top 10, just outside of the top 10 as well. But there are the two race leaders, Williams Esports Chilblast, Sami Matti Trogan, battling away with colleague, but also rival in this event, one of the two drivers from Italy, Moreno Sarica, taking the opening stint. But this gap seems to be very, very, we know for a fact that if you mentioned, we talked about strategy, but when you have two teams under the same umbrella, they are always going to have a different strategy, aren't they?
The problem is, it's a very long race, so team orders are always a thing. I mean, with the Red Bull Ring, of course, very, very famous, 2002 Austrian Grand Prix. The controversial moment when Rubens Barrichello had to let Michael Schumacher pass at the start-finish line,
right,
basically.
okay.
And Schumacher didn't even know properly what was going on, let him go into the podium at the first place.
Yeah.
And it's always difficult to execute that properly because while it's in the middle of the race, these guys will go, oh yeah, together we are stronger. But the closer you get to the finish, and the closer those two cars are together, if they're still on the same lap, okay, yeah, maybe they can fight. If they're in the same sector, yeah, could be close. If they're right behind each other, every team boss in the world will be like, you can fight, but please don't kill each other. You can fight, but please don't kill each other.
Okay, well, on that note, we're going to head back to Luke on the stage, who's got our next interview. Take it away, Luke.
Hello again. Yes, we are joined here with Pro Sport Team Manager Aaron Hermes. Not the greatest of starts, unfortunately, for you, but, still in with a chance.
Yeah, it's a long race. We hope to finish well. I mean, we came here to show that we can indeed now push. It's a kind of new team, and we wanted to play with the big ones. We see the Ferraris from Williams pulling away a bit, but let's see. We hope to fight back in the end, yeah.
So what will you be telling your drivers, over the next couple of hours to get them in a better position in the race?
Yeah, I mean, I told them before the start, just try not to fight too much in the beginning, save your incidents for the end, and we just have to make it from the late game. Yeah, so I told Philip already now, normally our SimRacing blue car should be the faster one. I was pushing it a bit too much, but yeah. I mean, the incident with the BMW was a bit unlucky, was touched from behind, so yeah, we have to fight back now, yeah.
What's your thoughts on the Expo as a whole here? First time in Dortmund, you get fun?
Yeah, it's amazing to be here. We've had a lot of guys visiting us. We have a car there, our Vantage GT4, and we allowed everyone to sit in it and had great feedback. And I mean, the stuff we have here is amazing to see. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Let's head back over then to Alex and Nico.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luke. We've just had another notification from Race Control. There's been another racing incident declared. Incident on lap 11 between car 8 and 17 has been declared a racing incident by Race Control. But at the moment, Nico, it's still a Williams Esports 1-2 with Chilblast leading Razor, covered by about 4.5 tenths of a second. You talked about strategy very, like saying about the team order aspect possibly coming in. I completely 100% agree with your point of view, and I back it 100% because if I was a team boss, I'd go like, yeah, you can race, but don't take each other out.
It's the golden rule.
It's the cardinal sin if you do that. However, we go back to the battle for 4th position. Falcon SimRacing teams, Lucas Müller battling it away with Lukas Prada from Thomas Engert SimRacing as they come out of turn number 1, named after the late great Niki Lauda, up towards Remus. And this is also another bit of the circuit where you see all the action on TV or on sim racing, and that's another part of the circuit where there is a significant rise in terms of elevation, and then you start the roller coaster ride down the circuit. It just goes to show that everyone's got to be on their A game. You've got to really put the traction coming out of the corners, but then you've also got to be mindful of dealing with changes in elevation and what is that going to do with the actual aero balance of the car.
Well, it's not just about aero balance, also the complete weight shifting of the car is going to be a lot different. Obviously, when you're going downhill, you're not just working against the entire momentum of your car with the brakes, you're also working against gravity. So it's a lot more difficult to slow the car down. That's why it's quite fun, this contrast from Remus to Schlossgold. At Remus, you're basically sitting like on when you're going basically up the first incline of a roller coaster, you're sitting in there like that, with
Oh,
an
yeah.
elevation almost.
And then the bubble meter goes into overdrive.
Exactly. But basically, going up the hill like that, the brakes are aided immensely, simply because you're helping with the elevation and everything. You're trying to get away from the earth. It's helping you slow down because you're going uphill.
Yeah.
But then on the next moment, where you're basically going a bit slower maybe, because the straight is a bit shorter, but you're going downhill, going to Schlossgold, and you're thinking, maybe I can brake at a similar braking point as for Remus, and then all of a sudden you're hit with the terrifying realization, oh, this car's actually quite heavy.
Right, we're going to go to replay. This is Renvelton. Losing the back end. And that was Sean Terry. No, that was not Sean Terry. That was Philip Dirisus in the sister car that managed to keep out of harm's way. And yeah, I mean, this is a perfect camera shot. You know, if you went actually onto the iRacing server for this and had like the couple of shots that we're seeing, Williams Esports have now pulled away to the tune of a combined, from first to third, is now around about 4.8 seconds, and that gap is climbing. I mean, Moreno Sirica on his last lap did a 1 minute 28.979. So the Italian very, very much at home in a car that is very much beloved by the people in Italy. Of course, the Cavallino Rampante, the 296 GT3. And now we've got another battle happening here. Right. Hello again, Sean Terra. He's ahead of, I think, that's the number 17 car. No, that's the 19 car, my apologies there. Sean Terra has got past Andrea Dalle Valle in the number 88 Absolute Motorsport Ferrari, so there is a change for 11th position. So Sean Terra has provided some great overtaking so far in the opening 19 races, 19 laps of this 116 lap race here, Nico. He is clearly going to be one that we're going to have to keep an eye, I think not just in sim racing, but possibly with real life racing, because I know one of the drivers from the Pro Sport Racing GT4 Germany team, Raphael Renhofer, who I've known for, I think, probably about the best part of 6-7 years. And it's great to see that, hearing from the Pro Sport sim racing team manager, like saying it's great that we've got the GT4 car here, people have been able to sit in it. And that's what I love about the fact where you have the real life and the sim racing connection from both parallels.
Yeah, absolutely. And the possibilities that come through that have been pretty immense. I mean, we saw how sim racing gained more and more in popularity, not just for people in general, but also for actual real racing drivers. I think one of the best stories is how Max Verstappen has a sim rig basically in his jet and in his trailer. And, just basically running straight from the real car into the sim. And obviously having the passion, not just for like real motorsport, but for racing, the concept in general. And I think it's just great to see many more ways for that to be intertwined, real and virtual. And obviously more to bring the passion together.
Yeah, quite a few teams now putting in personal bests. Thomas Enger Sim Racing in 5th, the number 69 Absolute Motorsport Ferrari, and then also the number 7 Mercedes of Sven Hettich from Get Closer Racing. But still, the gap has it's actually dipped, I think, for the first time that I've seen over the past 20 laps, that Williams Esports Razor are closing in again on Chill Blast. Here's the battle for 4th and 5th, still within 0.3 of a second of each other. So these drivers are really starting to push the envelope, so to speak. But also noticing down at the bottom of the timing screen there, the timing tower, the Pro Sport Sim Racing Red and Absolute Motorsport 88 are about 0.7 of a second adrift. Even though they might be at that position in the field at this moment, Nico, there's still every opportunity over 96 laps to claw themselves a little bit further up the order.
And I think what's been quite interesting over the last couple of laps, while Falcon Sim Racing and Thomas Enger have been so close together, they actually started, actually getting more and more personal fastest laps with each other, running to the low 29s. A couple laps before that, before Thomas Enger Sim Racing got that close, they were actually running into the mid, so like slowly improving to the low 29s, and all of a sudden that goal of a 29 dead or 28 high isn't too far away anymore, but it's also obviously having to look after your tires for the remainder of the stint. So if you overpush the car too much, you're very suddenly going to have over half a second, or maybe even up to a second time loss, because the tires are completely done and you still have a couple of laps to do. And you can't afford to lose that sort of time here right now.
Yeah, you mentioned tyres there. What would be the optimum strategy for doing like this kind of event? Would you say that if you're putting in a full tank of fuel, to stick a brand new set of slick tyres on it and have the best opportunity possible? Or could it be the case that over a 500 kilometre race, I mean, we know in IRL, tyres can, degrade, you get the degradation, you get the cracking on the surface of the tyre. How is it in this sort of kind of situation with regards to this kind of event?
I mean, it all comes down to setup philosophy and, for example, how hot the track is. One of my favorite examples there is just, in general, Barcelona and ACC, because it's usually a 46 or just generally over 40 degree track temperature, and it just melts the left side tires completely. So after 30 minutes, you're already feeling, yeah, no, we're not going to double these ones. It's a horrifying experience, quite frankly. And I know that here it's obviously a completely dynamic track surface as well with the temperature. So it all comes down, if you may be able to double stint, and in the end you have to make that guess yourself. I mean, Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, for example, I don't think that after those 2 spins they will be trying to double stint those tires, because the rear tires will just be too far gone.
No, they'll probably also be flat spotted whilst they were at it on the first spin. But of course, we're still looking at the battle between Sami Mati-Trogan and Moreno Sarica, who are leading the way. Door Esports at the moment have Mr. Reichel behind the wheel. Falcon Sim Racing Team, Lucas Müller, down there. Renvelton, after that moment going through Wörth, have now dropped to the back end of the field and are nearly 18 seconds behind Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, who are 13th. Absolute Motorsport in the 88 at 12th. Pro Sports Sim Racing Red in 11th, head of, behind Writer Engineering. Grid and Go Esports rounding out 9th. Get Closer Racing, Absolute Motorsport Acelith 69 at 7th. Racing Lab Esports 6th. Thomas Enger Sim Racing 5th. Falcon Sim Racing 4th, and then Door Esports, and then these two leading the charge at the front end of the field. It has been a sort of a little bit of a guessing game of chess, isn't it, Nico? We're on to now lap 24 out of 116. This is, now that we've got into some kind of rhythm, that's going to be unsettled when the first set of pit stops will come in. Have you got sort of like any idea on when we might see the first set of pit stops happening here for this race?
I'm not too sure. I've tried to do the math in my head with the lowered fuel tanks, but I'm not sure how much fuel each car is using per lap. So evidently they can only go as long as they have fuel in their tank.
Well, as long as they don't see...
Ideally.
as long as they don't see the fuel low side on the dashboard. But also good to see that the realism of sim racing, with the rear view camera on the left-hand side of the dash cluster, where there'll be a lot of information that's normally propagated by a heads-up display on any information that they'll have on the sim rig in front of them. And I think sometimes some drivers will, instead of using the HUD that they see on, like, say, iRacing, will normally use a heads-up display. It's normally bolted to the direct drive in front of them, where they're actually working, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the preference, I think, as well. What you're able to have with hardware, what you can afford. I mean, there's some crazy... And usually, I always see those crazy rigs when I look at those of iRacing players, so... there must be a correlation.
Yeah, as they say, to each their own. But now we go back to a little bit further down the order. There's Writer Engineering Esports in the Mercedes, and that is I think that is Sean Terra again behind them. The Pro Sports Sim Racing red car. That is the number 19. And Absolute Motorsport 88 is also making this a 3-car scrap for the bottom part of the top 10 as they go up the hill through in towards Remus, which is a very tight right-hander. And again, Sean Terra has done quite some really good moves earlier on, but now it's about how does he change from that perspective into what we see now, where you are having to anticipate what the car is going to do. You've got to read the language of the car, and Sean Terra breaks a little bit deep into that corner, nearly runs wide as a direct result. It is about just, endurance racing is about consistency more than anything. It's not about the absolute optimum lap time, as the absolute Motorsport 88 was round the outside of him at that particular point. That was coming through Hull and going into Verth. But still, the Ferrari is not giving up and hits the kitty litter on the right-hand side with the right rear. Nearly loses the back end, and that gives Sean Terra a little bit of breathing space on lap 26, well, lap 25 out of 116 of the digital GT500 for 2023. So some good battles up and down the order. And again, well, we go back to the battle between Falcon Sim Racing and Thomas Enger Sim Racing for 4th and 5th. It's pretty much the same situation that we're seeing with Williams Chilblast and Williams Razor at the sharp end of the field, Nico.
Sorry, didn't you understand the last part?
I said basically we've got two battles here, 4th and 5th, 1st and 2nd, very closely packed.
Yep. I mean, I think the Williams guys will probably just try to take it easy for now. Obviously still push, but I don't think Razor's going to do a serious effort at starting to fight, because they have that 5.5 second buffer.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look on expanding that gap, and then pretty much at the end of the race they're going to be given the okay, hey, as long as you don't crash each other out, go ahead and fight for it. But otherwise they have a quite big spot of luxury right now. Not so much Falcon, because they have to constantly look in their rearview mirror. But at the same time, I think they're using it to an advantage, because, as I said earlier, these low 29s turned into a 29 dead earlier. And here again, the same lap time actually, down to the thousandth of a second, 2:12.
Okay, well, without further ado, let's head over to Luke for our next interview. Looks to be a fan favourite out there.
Well, welcome back to the interview area of the stage. I'm with Christian Haupt from Get Closer Racing. You can get closer if you like. I've been waiting to do it all day, sorry. How are you finding the expo?
Yeah, great, because it's a home game for us. Our company is based in Dortmund, so it was easy for us to bring the stuff over and all the equipment. And thanks for inviting us on stage, so thank you.
No problem. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. You were telling me the story already down there. I'm like, don't give away all the material. Let's save it for the
normally
stage.
if I start this story, I need my colleagues that they kick me under the table, that I be a little bit quicker in telling the story. So I try to make the short story, a long story short. I'm the founder of Get Closer Racing, and my grandpa died in the race car, and I was not allowed to be a race driver. And I watched Niki Lauda and James Hunt in Zandvoort racing, and I said to my mom, I want to be a race driver. I said, no way. So I started slot car racing, RC car racing, everything what is simulating racing. And then I started about in the 90s with a Beamer setup and a Logitech wheel and Ridge Racer and Gran Turismo, and I started, and all my friends came over in the living room, and we had fun building the first simulators. And then I met Mark Hennerizzi. I had a sim racing team back in 2006, HP Racing, where we're racing against Redline Racing and all these teams.
Yeah.
In the beginning of sim racing, and like we feel a little bit like being sim racing pioneers. And it started about 15 years ago, and Mark Hennerizzi, he was in BMW school with Adrian Sutil, the former Formula One driver, and we didn't have the good racing wheels, throttles, everything was plastic wheels, plastic gas and clutch, and we said we have to go closer, get closer. And we went to race engineers at the Nürburgring, and we take a look how the real things look, and we said we need this hardware. And so there was the beginning of Get Closer Racing. And in the last year, COVID was like a booster for whole sim racing. And my daughter, she was doing her Führerschein, driving license. And her mama said, hey, do you have a simulator? She can drive a little bit with a simulator and to get the license quicker, and there was a fault. So I was, again, the simulator was in the basement. She was about 2 minutes in the simulator. She said, I don't like VR. But Daddy was again in the simulator, and then we started to do things, and We did a cooperation with Racewerk, and then I was going around and checking things, and all the motion simulators I liked a lot, and I said I have to cherry picking things, and I like VR racing, and if you be one with your avatar, and it's a difference if you sit in the GT car and your heel is down and your butt is up, and then you drive a Formula 1 race car in iRacing, and your heel is going up and the butt is down. But it's so cool if in VR you sit in the right position. So we developed our team the SimSwitch, so you can switch. It's one switch all cars, but then you sit always in the right position, and everybody is invited to check out our hardware. And with the SimSwitch, we were in Nuremberg last year, and then we have a racing team. And by the way, we are on 8th place. And the funny thing is, those guys are RCC pros. They are driving in the World Cup, and 2 days ago they had their first iRacing account. So those guys are about beginners in iRacing and come from ACC. And I'm very proud that we are on 8th place now against all the other pros. I guess they are, most of them, about 10Ks drivers. But now they see that what's the difference between ACC and iRacing. But they're doing good, I think. Huh? With 2 days in iRacing, they're doing good.
They're doing very well. I want to say thank you very much for your time. I think you could give Alex Goldschmidt a run for his money in terms of talking. But thank you very much for your time. Let's head back over to Alex and Nico.
Yeah, the SimSwitch actually made an appearance at last year's Expo, if I remember correctly, on their stand. But great to hear from the team at Get Closer. And really good to hear that after 2 days, they're competing in the top 8 in one of the blue wideband events for the ADAC in terms of sim racing, original GT500. So now we concentrate on the battle between 10th, 11th and 12th. It's Writer Engineering, Pro Sport Red, and Absolute Motorsport 88. Linestone going through Nicky Lauda corner on lap 29 out of 116. Getting very close, Nico, to about a third's distance at this moment. They've been racing for just over 42.5 minutes. It's been pretty good so far, seeing all the different teams and drivers and different manufacturers really embracing a new change of scenery here in the virtual recreation of the Styrian countryside.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the fun things here, I had a little bit of a chat. I was doing some rounds around the paddock earlier, the last couple of days,
Good man.
asking the drivers, how do you think you're going to be doing? Williams was, quite confident, as we could see, but also before the race, they were actually still dismantling a rig because they had an issue with the screen, and quickly remantling it and all that stuff, all the unforeseen stuff that can happen. To the current situation, though, Wright Engineering, I actually did do a guest start for them before in an endurance race, and we just saw each other for the first time, so I went over, hey guys, so what do you think? How do you think you are going to do? And last year they came in 24th, in fittingly the number 24. This time they have the number 76. Good news, they can't come in 76 there. But they said,
First pit stop has just occurred. Get Closer Racing on lap 30 of 116 have now jumped into the pit lane. So if they've decided to go for a little bit of a lighter fuel load, that might help them in terms of their optimum strategy, which could put them on a 3-stopper. If they're going to try and go, well, we're going to try and do how can we make it the fastest from A to B, from getting from lap 1 to lap 116, and see how far up the order we can go. So we are waiting, and they are on pit exit. So let's see if
there's the number 1. Well, the first place.
Okay, so we are seeing. Now, what is Moreno Sarica going to do? He's going to carry on for another lap. So whether
everyone else.
That's a hive of activity in the pit lane. So Williams Esports Chill Blast, Door Esports, Falcon Sim Racing Team, Thomas Enger Sim Racing have also now put themselves into the pits for the first time. I would hazard a guess. It depends on what strategy Moreno Sarica and Alessandro Bico. Look at that hive of activity in the pit lane. Cars going up on the air jacks. That means fresh new tyres will be put on. I think with the elevation change and the impact on the sidewalls of the tyres, That's going to cause a lot more abrasion and deg in the tyres, which thereby means the best way to get around this race, if you're going to fill it up, put a set of new boots on it. We've got more coming into the pit lane. Grid and Go, Writer Engineering, Pros SimSport Red, they're all flying into the pit lane now. And that is a good stop there from Williams Esports Chill Blast. That will put them in 6 on pit exit. Door Esports jump, Grid and Go.com Esports. So does Falcon Sim Racing, Thomas Enger Sim Racing. But the big question is, when will Moreno Sarica pit in the Razor Williams Esports car? He's just gone past. I think that was Get Closer Racing. So Moreno Sarica, will he dive into pit lane now? The answer is no. That's
still staying out.
So that might be a longer first fuel stint for that car. So Moreno Sarica and Alessandro Bico last year entered the 24 Hours Series Esports Championship in the Porsche Carrera Cup class. And what's more, they won 3 rounds on the trot. So they are, when you put those two together, they are a fantastic team. Now we're going to go to a replay. Right, this is Get Closer. Now this is into Verth. Oh, all of a sudden it just snaps to the right, and then across the gravel goes the car. So that's lost them a little bit of time.
I'm guessing it's on their out lap, so maybe the tires weren't quite up to temperature yet. Obviously, you want to start pushing as quickly as possible, but if you're not quite able to do it because the tire's just not saying no, just not quite agreeing with you, yeah, it's quite difficult. Now we have the pretty much the rest of the guys that stayed out in.
Yeah, but the number 9 of Moreno Sarica yet to pit from the race lead and is trying to get past the number 19. That's the Pro Sports Sim Racing red car. And round the outside. Oh, and has to back out of it.
Oh, and
because he was going into pit lane. He was looking to the inside. So Sarica went into pit road. So pretty much the majority of the field is now... that is... Sarica actually is in the pit lane. So will very shortly be pulling to the right-hand side. And the Ferrari 296 will it go up on the ADAC? There is the sister car piloted by, I think it's either Sammy Mati-Trogan or Dani Lafuente. So we're just going to go with the team names. It's going to make things a little bit easier. So there is the number 10 car. That placed, the number 10 entry. This team placed 3rd last year. And also, Dort Esports were very, very close to the podium last year. They missed out, and there you can see picture in picture. Sarica is, the car is in the pit lane. 11's is leaves the burnout in the pit lane, and away goes the number 9. Now the question is...
Oh yeah, but the Chill Blast car beats them out of the pit lane. They lost quite a bit of time on that pit entry there.
They did indeed. But it's going to be exactly what we saw last time on the, I think it could be the fact is how much fuel saving are they going to do? But more to the point, we've got Get Closer getting on the back bumper of the number 17. That's the battle for P12 coming out of the final corner. And the Merc's got the slipstream, Nico.
It's getting closer. It's definitely not too noticeable, so I think they're both running reasonably high downforce. But either way, really sticking right behind that car, having the least aero resistance, but you can also see a little bit when you're looking straight from the front, the Mercedes is a little bit wider than that Porsche. So not quite able to be like in a full slipstream situation.
Yeah, as the Get Closer racing car looks up the inside.
And he got closer. Sorry.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. He's here all week, and don't forget to tip your waitress on the way out. Moving swiftly on from that, but no, it was very, very, close proximity between the two, and the number 7 made a very, very clean and classy move there, I have to admit. But the thing is now we're at that point where we're on lap So there we go, we're on to lap number 34 of 116. Now, Falcon Sim Racing team have pulled a little bit more of an advantage over Thomas Enger Sim Racing. Williams Esports Razor has lost a little bit, I think. Okay, they went a couple of laps later, longer than the Chill Blast car. And it, you know, that the undercut strategy, if they've decided to bring the tank, that again says to me that Chill Blast will pit first, Razor will pit second, and that is where, if they can make this next stint work really, really well, irrespective of who's behind the car, whether it's Moreno Salica or Sami Matti Trogan, of course, we will have driver changes in this, so sometimes we might not know who is in the car. Of course, I'd love to walk down from the commentary booth and go and walk around and find out, but we need to concentrate on what's going on here. But again, the Thomas Enger Sim Racing car, they've done a really, really good job. Of course, they were running in the professional trophy yesterday, and to see them battling alongside with a name like Falcon Sim Racing is pretty cool to see, wouldn't you agree?
Just getting more and more brands, more and more teams, and also personalities involved with this sport is just always awesome. I mean, good example as well, you know, Pro Sport, brand new into this area of motorsport. Wright Engineering has been here for a couple of years already. Williams, obviously, very long. Durr for over a year now, and you know, just seeing more and more real-life brands coming in, cooperating with you know, sim racing and getting more of a presence here. It's just really, really awesome. You mentioned the attempted undercut of Williams Esports Razor. I think the main issue there is they have the potential to get the pace to actually make that undercut work, but in this situation here, they were basically stuck in traffic, and that cost them at least 1 to 2 seconds there.
Yeah, top prize up for grabs out of a total combined prize pool of €15,000, 2,700 to the race winner, and this year's digital GT500 champions, €2,000 for second, €1,700 for third, €1,400 for fourth, and €1,200 for fifth place. And then we've then got sixth is €1,100, seventh is 950, eighth is 800 euros, and then 650 euros for ninth place. And then those from 10th to 14th get 500 euros apiece. So a pretty substantial amount of money up for grabs, but also the fact it really sort of shows to the teams, okay, you've made the effort of coming here, you've made the effort of bringing your rigs, setting it all up, and actually racing on site. So here's a little way to say, we're going to make sure that you are the main star of the show, and that's why the GT500 always run on a Sunday. So lap 36 of 116 in the books here at the Red Bull Ring, Nico. You know, we're seeing again now the number 17 car starting to close on in, and yeah, Philip Didysus having a really, really good turn now. You can see he's behind the Get Closer Racing car of Sven Hettich. I recognised that name as soon as Christian from Get Closer Racing said, "Yeah, they've done ACC." And so I look, you know, you've got Sven Hettich and Felix Arndt. They have done ACC for quite a few years, but for them to jump in the car, and I really like the fact that they've gone, okay, we do ACC, but up until that drama that we saw earlier on, they were running a genuine P8, and they are here because they decided we're going to give it a go, and we're going to enjoy it, but we're also going to be tested at the same time, because when you look at, say for example, if you switch from one platform to another, sometimes it takes you a little bit of time initially when you adjust between platforms, doesn't it?
Yeah, for me personally, it was especially difficult to adjust to iRacing, because like whenever I tried it, simply because the force feedback and the feel is completely different. So I have huge respect for these guys. You know, other than this like short little excursion into the sandpit, they really have been doing fantastically, and even now, like, it's still close, but they're holding their own. They're not dropping behind massively, and the pace is still quite decent there. Obviously, it's going to be a bit slower now, simply because they have a full fuel tank,
Yes.
just like everyone else around them. And they're still doing a fantastic job, and, you know, it's something to be commended.
That was a bit of a wobble there for the Get Closer Racing Mercedes.
A little wobble never killed anyone.
Huh?
A little wobble never killed anyone.
No, but probably lost...
Except for when it did.
Or probably if he was a cat, he probably would have lost one of his 9 lives right there and then. It's like, oh! But, yeah, again, it's just seeing how the strategies play out. You know, within the first 30 to 32 laps, we pretty much had all of the field coming in. So if they bring the tanks beforehand, Moreno Sirica and Alessandro Bico will be looking at the fuel mileage and saying, okay, right, we lost a little bit of time after the first pit stop. We got caught up with back marker traffic, and now we've got to try and claw back a 1.5 second deficit. Now, we know for a fact that if one car pits before another and the other one comes in 2 laps later, trying to claw back a 1.5 second deficit is nigh on impossible. You probably need about 5 to 7 laps maybe to get that back, wouldn't you say?
Oh, it's really difficult, simply because the pace differential is quite far apart then. You don't have slipstream to pull you along at this point. Obviously, you also don't have dirty air, so tires could hold up a little bit better, but you don't gain an advantage or disadvantage there comparatively.
That was... Oh, dearie me.
ProSport really wanting to make the point of getting past here.
No,
I think they got a bit too
no.
close this time.
It was... Yeah, it was too close for comfort there going through into Niki Lauda corner. Like, literally, Philip Dinister's cutting across the front of Sven Hettig, and I think it looked like, well, there was more than just a wobble from the Porsche. I think it might have been the fact that when he cut across the front of the Mercedes-Benz, there was an inadvertent little bit of contact, and the back end got a little bit crossed up, got a little bit sideways, both left and right-hand side, within rapid succession. So when you're pushing to the limit of adhesion within the realms of consistency, those kind of manoeuvres are very, very much not wanted. However, now we go back to the battle for 6th and 7th. Racing Lab Esports versus Absolute Motorsport number 69, who are looking up the inside to take the position away through the Niki Lauda corner, and the Ferrari gets through on the BMW. But then one thing that happens as soon as you go through Niki Lauda corner, you then have the long elevated run up to Remus. And Racing Lab Esports are not letting go of that 6th position. They're going to try and fight Absolute Motorsport number 69 in the Ferrari to retake that position.
Really good going from both of them there, really clean. It just always cracks me up when I see one of the smaller cars. So like, for example, in real life, the Honda, the Audi, the Ferrari, something then next to the BMW, because for a very short moment on the front straight,
yes,
you just couldn't see anything of the Ferrari. Where did it go? It's just vanished behind the BMW.
It's like Harry Potter's had his magic wand out and just decided to cast a spell.
It's an invisibility cloak.
Yeah, invisibility cloak. Forget Voldemort, try and get Absolute Motorsport instead. Right, lap 40 out of 116. Dort Esports have just put in their fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 29.048. But I think if I remember correctly, it's one of the Williams Esports cars that has set the overall fastest lap. Let's Get Closer Racing, running now in P12, about 9.5 tenths of a second behind the number 17 of Pro Sport Sim Racing Blue, who in turn are 1.25 seconds behind the sister car in the number 19, who round out the top 10. And Racing Lab Esports losing a bit of time. Well, not Racing Lab Esports, I'm looking at Racing Lab Esports themselves. So they're running in the number 18 BMW. They've just done a 1:29.5, but it's the number 4 car of Glenn Key from Racing Lab Esports last time round did a 1 minute 31.027. So we're seeing a lot of consistent runs in the low to the mid to maybe the highs in terms of 1:29 lap times, Nico. But then you see a couple like, say, Grid and Go, they've just done a 1:30.1. there are always those moments where the teams are having to watch what they're doing in terms of track limits, because any slowdown penalty here on iRacing can be very, very costly.
They are vicious, absolutely. And I think one of the things that we also have to take into consideration here, with these little contacts like we saw just now from Pro Sport and Get Closer, that can also be aero damage that can accumulate over time, which will obviously slow you down quite a bit. And I would actually say with Pro Sport, they have to be really bloody careful with their rear end, because if it's one aerodynamic component, or one of two aerodynamic components that you really need around this track for a lot of, well, stable corner speed, it's definitely your diffuser and your rear wing. And it looked like they almost lost at least the diffuser there.
Yeah, well, I mean, any kind of damage that these cars suffer, especially with the updates that iRacing have done over the past 18 months in terms of the damage model, we've been, at this particular moment in time, very, very lucky that we haven't had anyone go off and into the barriers.
Yeah.
Because then that's a completely different kind of situation. And if the driver has to request a tow or drive it to the pit lane, then that is where, you know, that could provide a completely different situation. Because we know for a fact that there can be safety cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
one of the things is, like, I think we are also lining up one of the next interviews.
yep.
He asked me to also like mention that, you know, as he's coming up for the interview. But yeah, quick retort to Reiter. I met those guys the first time in person after I did my guest start ages ago for them. And our interviewing guest here basically went, hey, does anyone ever tell you that you look like the co-commentator for this? And it's like, man, that's a crazy coincidence.
So what we'll do, we'll hand back over to Luke. Over to you, buddy.
Hello again, everybody. I'm here with Reiter Engineering Esports, Max Knoll.
Hi.
How's it been going for you, mate?
Yeah, it's been all right, I guess. I mean, we lost like few positions after the pit stop because we collected slowdowns after slowdowns. Just unlucky.
But you obviously handicapped yourself for the balance of performance of a night out last night. Did you have fun last night?
Yes,
the
I
whole
did.
team did, didn't they?
Did you?
I wasn't partaking any of that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So yeah, P30 not ideal, but you're actually live streaming the event as well, so people can watch your perspectives.
Yes.
Where can they find that?
Reiter Engineering Esports on Twitch. All lowercase, everything together, as is written in the standings. So, yeah.
And how are the team? Are they all happy, all smiley?
I guess they're nervous as well as I am on the stage.
Okay, you're doing well. Don't worry, it's all good.
Yeah, the driver now driving, Philip, he is pretty nervous, at least from the looks of it. He's probably faster than what he's doing now, but it's all right.
And what is the maximum you think you can get from this race? What are you looking to try and finish?
Well, we're hoping for a top 10, but let's see.
Perfect. Thanks for your time. Let's head back over to Alex and Nico.
Thank you very much, Luke. Okay, I've just been informed by our team behind the scenes. Ren Velton are very, very close to being the first team to hit 30x incident points. They're on 25 at the moment. What do I mean by that? If they hit 30, they have a drive-through penalty, and then every 10x incident points afterwards, Nico, is a further drive-through. So Ren Velton need to sort of cross the T's and dot the I's, don't they?
Yeah, they will have to watch out, and especially looking that we're a third way through and they are, let me do the math, I'm not very good at math in my head. They're around 70% or 75% almost to the way of getting a drive-through. It's not the best ratio.
No. But the thing is, they will have been informed of that by race control, and thereby the team will be like, right, don't go off track. Don't. But the thing is, through Rint and Red Bull Mobile, the last 2 corners on the 10-turn circuit, that's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, with Niki Lauda curve, with Remus, there's already outside, there's a bit of tarmac runoff, which is, always very alluring. And then they pack the curb there to make it a little bit less alluring. But they have the benefit that it's slow pace. Rindt and Red Bull Mobile are such fast-paced corners, downhill, slightly off camber, and gravity, and your tires also, because they don't like taking tighter corners, basically just go, don't worry about it, you can just go a little bit wider. But if you go too wide, and we can see a lot more caution here now from them.
Yes, yeah, that was like come on, keep it together. But again, lovely livery on that BMW. That's the thing. What I love about the sim racing community is the fact that there is so much that you can do to make a car unique. Like get closer racing, the white, the gold, the black, Pro Sport with the matte grey and the orange accents, or sort of more like a darkish grey green, like an anthracite green on there. So on lap 45 out of 116, it is still around about 1.4 seconds between Williams Esports Chill Blast and Williams Esports Razor for the overall race lead. Door Esports 6.7 seconds further behind. Falcon Sim Racing team, Thomas Enger Sim Racing round out the top 5, and it's nearly a further 21 seconds back to Absolute Motorsport in the number 69. There we see the Get Closer Racing Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. And one of the things that the first ever broadcast I did on sim racing for ACC, I went, 6.3 litre and actually aspirated V8, and someone popped up in the chat and went, no, it's a 4 litre twin turbo V8. No, that's the road car, because they've just done the Evo update. And it's sort of like, I love the fact that we still have these wonderfully sounding, naturally aspirated V8s in GT3, and especially on iRacing and ACC, as we've seen over the last couple of days.
And there's quite a variety of them as well. I mean, the Lexus RCF now is getting replaced by the next car with, I think, Toyota or Lexus as well. But there was also, 5 litre V8, then, as you mentioning ACC, the ML Frey Jaguar G3 with a 5 litre supercharged V8, one of my favorite cars of all time.
And then there's one car that we haven't seen in decades, I think. Well, that's probably what it feels like. And of course, I have to mention Reiter Engineering because of the Lamborghini Gallardo-based REX GT3, which actually was raced by Caden Wood as part of what was the Blancpain GT series way back when.
Oh yeah.
So that's a long old time ago.
Fun connection to that. When I had my first racing weekend in real life in touring cars, it was also one of these little multi-class privateer grids. So I'm just happily trucking along at Oschersleben in my 180 horsepower Chevrolet Cruze, and all of a sudden, when you're in a race car, your entire sound is just the engine, that's your entire world. All of a sudden my world vanishes, V10 scream, and a rear wing flies past through my passenger window, and then I see the rest of the Gallardo.
Yeah.
So that was, very calming and reassuring that I knew that there would be not that big of a speed difference, except like almost 100 kph.
Yeah, Battle for Ninth on your screens now, folks. It's Absolute Motorsport, Asetek and the number 88 Ferrari 296 GT3, battling away with the leading Pro Sport Sim Racing car, the number 19. That's the blue entry. This is the battle for 9th position. Gap between them is roughly 3 to 3.5 tenths. And looking at the respective lap times, well, the number 19 has been quicker than the car in front, coming through Rindt at turn number 9 and into Red Bull Mobile corner. Now, will the Porsche get the legs on the Ferrari? At this moment, not quite yet. there's the closing speed. The Porsche's closing up to the Ferrari into Niki Lauda corner. As we run on board on the front bumper cam of the Porsche 911 992 GT3R. That's a wonderful camera shot as well. Like literally, you can just see how close that car got to the Ferrari. And now here we go into Remus, flash of the lights, up the inside. That is a change for ninth.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit also calculated because Absolute might just be thinking, oh, okay. Absolute might be thinking, you know, maybe try to go for the switchback or maybe let him in front for now, try and get pulled along a bit, because one of the other advantages that I didn't mention yet when you have slipstream, you don't need as much power to go the same speed because you have less drag. That's a way of saving fuel.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, being behind another car is where you're getting that additional 0.1 or 0.2 litres of fuel that's not being touched on circulating around the lap.
Yeah.
But then you also have the other problem, which is dirty air, aero wash. Okay, yeah, you're going to get some additional top speed, but is it going to help your grip? Is it going to help your downforce? No. So from that perspective, if you got the slipstream, I think coming down out of Red Bull Mobile and into Niki Lauda, that's quite good. Niki Lauda to Remus, also good as well. And then the run down to Schlossgott. Because the good thing is, you don't necessarily have to be, if you're in the dirty air of another vehicle, but you're challenging them for position, you can use that, use that sort of gravity effect to help that car go down the hill. But you've still got to keep your foot at some modicum of throttle position in order for you still to carry that speed.
That's, a lot of tactics that you can put in. Like, downhill parts are always very nice for fuel saving anyway, because, either way, like, you don't have as much rolling resistance, gravity just drags your car down, and with no slipstream, and actually...
Oh, right.
Yeah,
well,
that is, I think, the first one then.
Ren Velton have just served their drive-throughs, so they've hit 30x incident points, another 10 subsequently every single time. That will be more times and more trips down pit road for Ren Velton in the number 8 BMW M4 GT3. Still with, we're coming up to, well, we're 9 laps away from half distance of the GT500, and still we are waiting. So obviously we saw the first set of pit stops around 19 laps ago, Nico. So would you say that we could possibly see the same thing, or could we see that the second stint might be a little bit further elongated?
I mean, the cars are still quite spread out. The main thing that threw Razor back was, the lap traffic basically in the middle of the pit stop zone. So I think it's going to be interesting now, because whether they catch up to the pit stops or whether they are maybe, getting clean air, that's one of the main things that people are trying, when you have engineers, people are trying to figure that out, if you're going to be in clean air, if you're going to be running up to the people that you have to lap, or maybe even people with offset strategies and all that, because for them, obviously, it's maybe not a fight directly with you, but at that point, it's for position, and some people are strategic, they just let you by, but other people also could just go, hey, I'm on track here now, I don't see a blue flag, so bring it on.
Oh, don't mention blue flags to Sebastian Vettel, whatever you do.
Blue flag, honestly, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I know. Just like his ping pong comment about Daniel Kvyat in Sochi a few years back. The less said about that one, the better. Because then somebody else ended up in a certain Red Bull seat the race after, and that changed history in terms of F1. But again, we're seeing now that in 9th place, and that is actually that's the Pro SimSport Racing blue car, Philip Dinisus, who is now in a genuine 9th place. That to me showcase it just goes to show that sometimes you'll have these drivers at some point they'll put in a lap whereby they'll go, yes, that was a good one, they make a little bit of a mistake, and the first thing they do is they sort of tell themselves off, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the main source of aggression, I would say, other than people that crash you off, is usually when you make a mistake, and you're basically just going, you practice for this, especially in a big event. You practice for this. Why do you make this mistake? This is stupid. Come on, get yourself together. And then the most important bit is actually to get out of that mindset of, oh, I'm an idiot, and get back into the normal rhythm. Just find your rhythm again. And Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, they absolutely did that. They had that little outbraking themselves, spun around, they were in last. And they made it back, they're now in 9th place. And I'd say they've been catching pretty decently up to the grid and go car.
Yeah, well, I think they've been taking about 2 to 3 tenths of a second a lap out of them.
That was almost a second this time.
Oh, that's pretty impressive from them. So, yeah, that just goes to show that when someone wants to put the hammer down and close in on those in front, they'll be chomping at the bit. They'll be trying to do everything possible, such as making sure that they hit the brakes exactly when they need to, turn the car in, rotate it, hit the apex, power out nice and early once the car has carried the rotation through the corner. That's where it gets very, very interesting. And then, of course, with the type of drivetrain that the car will have underneath it, that's where you can really, really sort of see how the car's going to evolve as the track rubbers in, because we're 6 laps away from half time, which will be lap 58 of 116, so that'll take us at the 250 kilometre mark. But we're getting again towards those sort of pit stop windows that might be coming in very, very shortly, Nico. And at that point, you have to wonder who's going to blink first. Will it be Razor? Will it be Chill Blast? I'm looking at the lap times, and the leaders are doing, the last couple of laps they've done a 1:28.9, and the sister car, the Razor car, is running about a tenth off. And you're seeing that gap expand now. It's now 1.9 seconds. So if Sami Matti-Drogan is making his way through traffic, and then Moreno Sarica will have to do exactly the same, thereby meaning that we'll have a possible alternative strategy coming towards Razor, because I know for a fact that if you are the defending champion of a one-off event as prestigious as this, you will do everything in your power, within legal reason, of course, to try and get the job done. Now, we don't want anyone biffing it, hitting anyone off the circuit. And there you see the back marker traffic side of the situation, where there is Reiter Engineering, and there is the Williams Esports Chill Blast car closing in very, very quickly. And it just has been a very, very sort of, that first lap was like, oh, hang on, what's going on here? Ah. Thank you very much, Matsu.
Got some refreshments from...
Service with a smile there, folks.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to end up in a bow tie and have like one of those napkins over his left arm saying, "Your drinks, sir." But yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty dominant display by Williams. I mean, as Luke rightly put it last year, it was the Williams Esports show. Again, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, they've obviously prepared quite a lot for this. Obviously, they are also one of the very big professional teams in sim racing in general right now, and in esports. Basically, any big competition, they're always there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we saw earlier, just now, Reiter Engineering letting them through quickly, making sure that they go through without trouble, braking a bit later in turn 2. And that was very nicely and cleanly done, I think. Yeah,
and now that gap has expanded between the two leaders to coming up to 2.5 seconds. As we now head on to lap 54 of 116. So a big thank you to you all that have been watching the racing all the way through the weekend, along with the live streams here on the ADAC SimRacing Expo YouTube and Twitch channels. A big thank you to everyone that has been a part of every single panel that we've had this weekend here at the Messe Dortmund. And a big thank you to the team behind Messe Dortmund as well for allowing us to host what's been a fantastic weekend. But again, that was very, very quickly negotiated by Moreno Sarica in order to facilitate no car being between him and also Sami Matti-Trogen, who after 54 laps has yet to be sort of truly challenged. I mean, let's not forget, Moreno Sarica got an absolute brilliant start at the beginning of this race, got the car up to second, and then for that car, they decided to go a couple of laps later. And in that respect, it wasn't a bad idea. But because, as you rightly alluded to, Nico, there was backmarker traffic that Williams Esports Razor were going to have to negotiate. And unfortunately, when you get lap traffic, that is what can happen in an enduro.
Yeah, it was just wrong place, wrong time. They would have. I think they would have lost far less time if they had gone for the inside. But obviously, Pro Sport at the time, basically just seeing the leader approach, they don't know how long they're going. They don't know when they're pitting in. So they basically just, clear the outside line, clear the racing line, of course, the faster line, and go, come on, go through, mates. We're helping you out here. And at that moment, the Williams car basically just goes, no, hold on. We're running out of fuel, man. And
yeah, it's not like we're getting marginal.
That's how quickly you lose just seconds from just a short miscommunication.
Yeah, it's like, come on in, you're running on fumes. No, one more lap. No, you're running on fumes. Get in now. It was sort of like, yeah, but I'm fine. No, you're not. Your fuel's right. That's the thing, because with these professional teams, they will ring the fuel tank to the absolute bottom of the, like the little dregs in the bottom of the fuel tank. They'll go right down to when it says fuel level low. And if they know that they can squeeze an additional lap out of it, they'll do everything in their power. Okay, it might not be the fastest lap, it might be 5 to 7 seconds slower on the in lap in comparison with the full push lap, but it might make all the difference. But then you wonder, well, hang on, if you've got a lap to go, or you've got a lap and a half to go, wouldn't you think it would be the more sensible choice? Bring that car in now and have that additional lap of fuel in the pocket just in case. But even that doesn't always work.
The thing is, to a certain degree, I think every single driver is a thrill seeker there, because when you run out of fuel in a real car, obviously, like it's not recommendable overall, because like the engine is also just not working properly. So like if you run out of fuel or run on too little fuel too often, that's not very great. Here we don't have to worry about that, and I can tell you, like from personal experience from an endurance race, there's no better feeling when you're coming in for the pit stop, and as you enter the pit lane, your engine turns off with 0.0 liters, so you don't even have to turn off the engine for the pit stop. Rewarding feeling. Really stupid, but very rewarding.
Very rewarding when all that nervousness, all that anxiety, your brow perspiring like a good one, and you're wondering, am I going to make it? And you get in, you're like, phew, that was close.
I played a prank on a friend of mine once. We did 3 hours of Imola, and during the last 2 laps, I just go, oh no, man, we underfueled, and he can't see my fuel consumption because he's just co-driver.
Ah, okay.
And that's cyanide, Amir Thacker, who's currently working in the flight simulator industry. And absolutely hilarious. He's basically just freaking out. Come on, just lift and coast, clutch in, do whatever.
Heel and toe.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, put your foot in the right position. There you go, that's fine.
We're coming to the front straight for the finish, and I'm literally just going, like throttle spike, as if like the engine is dying out. And I'm going, oh, it's gone. And we're rolling over the line, and he's like, man, that was way too close. And I'm like, yeah, anyway. And I just shift 3 gears lower and start going flat out back to the pit lane.
Yeah, well, Door Esports now making their way past Reiter Engineering, who are currently situated in 11th position. Just one lap, after this lap, will be on halfway of the ADAC Digital GT500. There's the Renvelten Esports car, the number 8, that is currently being piloted by Dominic Beck.
Speaking of Durr for a moment, they've actually caught the Williams Razor car by quite a bit, I think. They started closing down the gap, because when they came out of the pits, initially in the last stint, it was around a 7-second gap. They caught it 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the gap at one point was like 7.5 seconds in climbing. So, just going to have a look at the lap times. 1:28.883 for Sami Matti Trogan. 1 minute 28.998 for Moreno Sirica. As we've now just had another, we've got, oh, right, number 17, Philip Dirsus is under scrutiny from race control. Incident between cars 7 and 17 on lap 38. Final warning to car 17 for causing a collision. So that's the, yeah. So that's before the slap on the wrist. That's, I told you not to do it, don't do it again.
Yeah.
Sort of situation. But, right, Ren Velsen have now pitted on their 55th, they're about a couple of laps down off of the leaders, so this is getting a bit close though. Well, that was Grid and Go, who have just released Pro Sport Sim Racing Blue in the number 17. So Phil Dillisus now takes 8th place as a direct result. New personal best lap there for Absolute Motorsport. GrinandGo.com esports are now in the pits. I was going to say, Ren Velsen's been there for quite a long old time. We'll wait to see if that car comes out of pit road very, very shortly. And that gap is further expanded between first and second. So Williams Esports Chill Blast and Williams Esports Razor. 2.3 seconds, well, 2.8 seconds ahead.
Actually, though, actually slowly catching up. At the beginning, they were having troubles even getting to the 129 dead, and now actually starting to match. Falcon as well. So I'm thinking Williams might have a setup where they already have quite a lot of mechanical grip on lower rubber, but now as the track gets more and more rubbered in, that advantage might be fading a little bit.
Yeah.
Durr and Falcon seem to be gaining a little bit, seem to have found a stable ground, so to say, and now start pushing a bit more.
Yeah, stable ground. But there's always a bit of instability on any racetrack these days, and normally that's the pickup around the traditional racing line. How? I mean, we're now seeing a lot of the cars getting quicker and quicker, and a lot more consistent over the course of the race. So from that aspect, there will be effectively the iRacing equivalent of marbles, like rubber pickup. Can that sometimes be a bit of a detriment to some of the teams, especially if it's rubbering in and you decide to go one side and you don't get the grip pickup that you'd normally get on the traditional racing line?
I mean, absolutely. We saw Williams Esports Razor outbrake themselves slightly in the second qualifying race, and having that collision immediately. And situations like that are only going to be exaggerated with the marbles.
Yeah, right. Now we're seeing a few more pit stops, so we are looking at a three-stop strategy. Dart Esports and Falcon Sim Racing team now have pitted. So this could be very, very crucial for how the remaining teams react in terms of what they're doing at the moment. So this could be quite crucial in either undercutting or overcutting. Absolute Motorsport, Asetek, the number 69, and Racing Lab Esports now occupy 4th and 5th as Dart Esports in the number 20 make their way out of the pit lane. And Pro Sport Sim Racing Blue, by going a little bit longer, despite having those dramas earlier on in the race, now move up into 7th.
And get closer also in the pit lane.
Yeah, so, oh, careful, Rider Engineering. And that's Max Podol behind the wheel, but the Grid and Go.com esports car looking up the inside. This is going to be side by side into the right-hander through the final turn. A little bit of a run wide there from Writer Engineering. I think they just went a little bit too deep, carried a bit too much momentum, and then they were able to get through. Get Closer Racing in 13th place.
Now there was also an example of marbles there. I think there was also already one of the first examples of marbles there. Trying to go on the outer line there, and the marbles are not merciful at all.
Yeah, it's not a racing team's best friend, is it? Where you have marbles, you have pickup, and okay, that people might say, well, what does that actually do? What that does is it compromises the tyre in terms of its contact patch, but what it also does, because that's old pickup, that's rubber that's already been used, so it will add a little bit of possible slidiness to the tyres, especially on the rear end, wouldn't you say, Nico?
Well, there's a little bit of a dual-sided sword. Like there's that is less than ideal.
Falcon Sim Racing team out of the pit lane exit. Well, the loud pedal was hit, and the car does decides to connect with the barrier on the back end.
I know wall tapping is, a trend in drifting, but I don't think it's supposed to happen in GT racing.
That was definitely not the plan for Falcon Sim Racing team. So, on that aspect, that car is going to be running with a little bit of damage on it, which could compromise the rear aerodynamic stability. So, Chill Blast again, pit before Razor when it comes to Williams Esports. And now we wait to see how long it's going to take before, well, waiting to see when Moreno Seneca is going to be out. Well, he's already coming through Schlossgold. So that is why they're a little bit further up they're a little bit further ahead. Not a bad strategy though, I must admit, because it could be a lot worse. And the fact that they go, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. No, that's not going to work. This is though, however. But again, you just have to wonder how much longer Williams Esports Razor will be going on. Pro Sports Sim Racing Red go into the pits for what will be their second trip down pit lane. But I think the way things are going, Nico, it seems to be the main thing with this. Every single team at this time are putting this full set of new tyres on it, filling the tank up to 77% capacity and running with it.
And that's the only way to go at the moment, I think. Maybe at the beginning you'll probably try to run the fuel tank as much as you can, as full as you can, just so the final pit stop can be a little bit lighter, and that was a lot of sliding at the late entry to the pit lane.
Yeah, Racing Lab Esports, Absolute Motorsport number 69, also in the pit lane. Pro Sports Sim Racing Red might have been there for a little bit of time, but it may not be to their detriment at this point. A lot of pit stops happening. There is a flood of activity in the pit lane on lap 63 of 116. There is a little bit of an audience gathering. But Williams Esports Razor have a 46.3 second advantage over the Chill Blast team. Let's head back over to Luke.
Well, very appropriately, we are with Javi from Williams. First of all, cool necklace, dude. That is really
Thank
cool.
you.
Is it like a lucky necklace or something?
It is, it actually is. Like every time I'm bringing this over, we are doing a good result, and I mean, I can say, hopefully it keeps on my neck for the next 2 hours, so yeah.
I bet it goes really well with a wetsuit as well.
Yeah.
P1, P2, pretty good from you right now. It's been a good weekend as a whole. Actually, the last year as well was pretty good. SimRacing Expo seems to go pretty well with Williams.
Yeah, I mean, we have been in SimRacing Expo already. I think it's like the 4th consecutive year we are here. New location, which is great. I've never been here in Dortmund before, so great to be here. And fantastic result for the team so far. Hopefully we can keep the result till the end of the race. Many things could happen. I have to say we have been exploring also some issues in one of the rigs the whole day. So I mean, having the team on top is quite good at the moment. So yeah, it was mega yesterday. Hopefully we can achieve a good result today as well.
Well, talking about the Expo, we were at Nuremberg last time. What's your thoughts of it being in Dortmund?
It's good. It's actually good. We had our own concerns about the venue. I have to say it's so good. I mean, the venue is great. It's just a shame that we are missing some of the best teams and drivers here as well. But I mean, meeting a lot of people today, yesterday, and I mean, for me, it's been like a whole day, basically enjoying here every minute. But it's been great. I mean, also having partners here like Fanatec, launching new products. So yeah, awesome again.
Nice one. Well, thanks for your time. Good luck for the rest of the race. Let's head back over to Alex and Nico.
Round of applause there for Javi from Williams. Good to have him here with us as always, and thanks to Luke. 1-2 at the moment, and well, since the second pit stop, Nico, what have I just noticed? The fact that the two team cars from Williams Esports, Chill Blast leading Razor by 0.7 of a second approximately. They've got the Absolute Motorsport car just in front of them. Now it's the time to see whether Razor can get the jump on Chill Blast by getting past this back marker rather quickly. Now there's two straightaways. We've got the first one underway now, then we've got going through Niki Lauda corner and then up the hill towards Remus. Now it's a case of how does Razor take full advantage of this situation. The Absolute car pulls to the left-hand side very quickly, and Razor now does something very nice. Slipstream, and is going to get the toe going up the hill to carry an extra bit of kilometres an hour, maybe 5 to 8. Slingshots past the outside, neatly done, and keeps Chill Blast in their crosshairs.
I'm gonna be honest, I think they basically already jumped them, because if you recall correctly, after the last pit stop rotation, or well, at the end of the last stint before the pit stop rotation started, the distance was 2.7 seconds. All of a sudden, it's back below 1 second, and at the same time, don't take your eyes away from DER Esports. They have slowly reduced that gap from 7 down to 5 seconds now to a Williams Esports Razor there. So I think over the next two stints, we're definitely having to watch them as well.
Yes, indeed. We're on lap 65 of 116 of the 2023 ADAC Digital GT500. So, over the past few years, we have visited the following circuits. So, in 2018, it was Nürburgring, 2019 Spa, 2021 a return to the Eifel region back at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. And then the Temple of Speed Monza was the host of the Digital GT500 last year. And here, another change. Great to be at another circuit. I think also there is a saying, variety is the spice of life. And I like the fact that we have gone to a different circuit. Okay, as much as people go, well, it's an ADAC event, it should be hosted at a German circuit. Okay, understand, take your point. But I would rather see these drivers. Oh, dearie me. Ren Velton is going to have another trip down the pit lane. That's another drive-through. And also, I've just been informed that Reiter Engineering and Falcon SimRacing team are now both on 24 incident points apiece. So Ren Velton, again, is quickly serving that drive-through penalty. But what I've been noticing is that the Chill Blast car is 2 and a bit tenths of a second slower than the Razor car. There you see the current atmospherics, 20 degrees there, 27 degrees track, 55% humidity with a 3 km/h wind. Server time currently at 1:35 p.m. in the afternoon on October, well, funny enough, they decided to put the date as it is today, October 15th, 2023. And this gap is getting closer and closer still between Williams Esports Chill Blast and also Williams Esports Razor. Gap now under 4.5 tenths of a second and closing.
just matching the pace of the Williams Razor car though, so it's getting double interesting here because we could have this fun situation again. These two are maybe fighting for the lead. Ideally for Williams, they're not going to want that. They're going to try and, fly in formation to try and get away from them.
And get a nice picture to end the weekend as well, of course.
Absolutely. But Durr, of course, they're hoping that maybe they'll start fighting a little bit. And we saw so many times this weekend already how quickly you can lose time just by fighting 1v1.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where now we're more than halfway through the race. We're getting in towards... we saw a lot of the second pit stops. So we'll see... the last set of pit stops will start happening from lap 90 onwards, and then it'll be a 26-lap run to the finish. So, one of the things that I'm looking at here, from this kind of strategy perspective, Razor are able to go a couple of laps longer than Shield Blast. So what that says to me, on their final pit stop, they don't need to put as much fuel in. If they stick a new set of tyres on that car and probably put enough just to cover them by about a lap, that will be absolutely fine. Because you want to have that additional safety net, don't you? You want to make sure, okay, right, how long have we got? Okay, 24 laps. Put enough fuel in for getting to 26. So you don't want to completely overcompensate, but you want to make sure that you've got enough in case there's an issue, like say for some reason there's a couple of mistakes, it burns a little bit of fuel. You want to have that sort of contingency plan, don't you?
Yeah, you always have to look a little bit here. One thing that I'm also just recalling now, all cars are running at 77% fuel except for the Mercedes, which is running at 76. That could be a problem at the first sight, at the first glance, simply because you don't have as much range perhaps. We saw that the Mercedes do stop earlier. However, if they refuel completely, that also generally means, hey, these guys have a shorter full refuel time.
True. Yeah, very true indeed. It's just one of those things as Javi, you've got to remember to take the lens cap off. He didn't do that last year. And Seb Hawkins still mucking about. Gracias, Javi. Oh, that was like he took a picture of me and Paul Glover last year when we were both pointing at a screen, and then he forgets to take the lens cap off. Absolutely priceless.
Well, we gaze at Williams. Williams gazes back at us, or not, because the lens cap is on.
That was a comedy of errors. That moment right there.
Yes.
But we're just we're coming up to the end of lap 69 of 116. So we have gone north of 250 kilometres. We're probably north of 300 kilometres already completed in total race distance. But again, now the stalemate between these two at the moment. It's ebbing and flowing. They're running in the 129 ones. And then you look at everybody else. Dot Esports, Michael Reichel is running on the same pace, so 129, 112. Lucas Müller in the Falcon Sim Racing car, running at a 129, 337. Then you've got the Thomas Engers Sim Racing car running mid 129s. The same for the car behind Racing Lab Esports, 129 high 6s. And then we get to like below 8th position. Andrea Dalle Valle at the moment running in the 130.1s. Sven Hertig for the number 7 of Get Closer Racing, who folks have now recovered to get themselves back into the top 10. And have done a really good job despite that moment we saw earlier on today. It's done a really, really good job of just keeping, just keep the focus. Okay, yes, it was a mistake we made, but we're going to claw it back. We're going to try and make our way up the order. And they've got 3.5 seconds to claw back because just in front of them is Ren Velton, who've done their second trip through the pit lane due to incident points accumulated over the course of the race. And now the gap is 3/10. I now sense that there will be a move that could put the Razor car in the race lead, but by keeping in this close proximity, Razer are doing everything that they can to keep Chill Blast from thinking that they may have the win. It's all going to come down to this final pit stop. That's what's been crucial. Of course, chaos and calamity on the opening lap, but now the strategy is what really counts.
They're both pushing at the max, but I can't help but notice Williams Racer just did a 202, so 300ths of a second faster than their sister car. And right behind that, running almost the exact same pace, but 2,000ths of a second faster, the eSports. The thing is, they are running a little bit faster on principle, but they will have to crank up the pace a little bit at least if they want to get in striking range.
Oh, right, that was another 1/10 of a second taken out of the race leader by the car behind.
Another one, yeah.
And
And like another one from behind then.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is, looking at the sector time, sector 1 for the race leader was a 21.985. For second it was 21.789. And again, the car in second is the faster vehicle. Now they're really close coming through out of Remus on lap 71 of 116 of the 2023 ADAC Digital GT500. And I kept quiet for a short, brief ASMR interlude right there. It's actually a very nice sounding car. Like,
Yeah.
when we go into the cockpit cams on any simulator and you hear a Ferrari, it's there's that sort of DNA from that passed down from the V12s, the V8s, but it has its own distinctive sound. And that gap is still under 0.2 of a second, but Chill Blast was slightly quicker by about 0.5 in sector number 2. Down in towards Hunt they go. Significantly steep elevation shift downwards. A little bit of a touch on the inside of the curbing by the Chill Blast car. Out of the final corner. Up to 4th. 5th gear. Now we start to see the closing speed. And the car in front was the faster one. Down from 6th to 2nd. Turn it in. And that was another 191. Oh, 129.182. So, yeah, I think the thing is now, we've seen that Razer, now Harvey from Williams said, yeah, one of the rigs we're having a problem with. Now, does that mean that one of these teams is having to try and just get through this? We talked, I have to give a shout out to Seb Hawkins, Josh Martin and David Perel being on the stage with Matsit with the talk about sim racing now and beyond, when they were talking about the fact of technical issues when it came to sim racing, and with Williams having one rig that is not fully functional, let's say, in comparison to the other one. Do you think that might put a little sliver of doubt into the mind of the drivers that have that issue?
I think it's going to add a little bit of stress at least. Not necessarily doubt, but definitely stress, because, for example, let's say it's an issue with the force feedback.
Okay.
You're lacking just a little bit of feedback or something, you don't know why, you don't have time to identify it because you're racing already. So basically you have to adjust to the new sensation. You have to be careful that you don't overpush the car because you don't have the same sensation as usually. And you also have to look out, obviously, that you don't hit your teammate who's right up your tailpipe or who's right in front of you. So
yeah,
there's definitely an added bit of pressure now.
And the pressure being that it's coming down to just under 0.3 of a second at certain points under acceleration. And now, Razer have got the slipstream on lap 73 of 116 here at the Red Bull ring, and that gap's coming down. Now into the next right-hander, they go down the hill. That expands to just over 0.4. But it's really about the traction they get out of the corners in order to get the full traction down. They're still using a little bit of grass cutting, like literally clipping the outside sidewall onto the grass. And still, it's been pretty much nip and tuck between these two at the moment, whilst they continue their battle for the race lead. Of course, the defending champions in second, the team that finished third last year, leading the race, and they're 5.3 seconds up the road from Door Esports, But now what we will do is we're going to, if I can, without further ado, hand over to Luke on the stage.
Well, we are focusing on the front two. This actually is a 3-car race at this point, and we are joined with Michael Teichmann, who is a part of the Dirt Esports outfit. What have they changed? They're starting to catch up. It's 8 seconds a minute ago. Now it's down to 5. It is closing down.
Yeah, I mean, right now we did a little bit of adjustments before our last pit stop. We are trying to push as much as we can. Sim is doing a sensational job so far. He's doing fast lap after fast lap. Last time I was checking. So we hope we can catch up in the last stint, and hopefully the Williams guys start to fight a little bit.
Yeah, do you anticipate them to start fighting early? You know, what do you believe their team have told them?
I think from what I've heard so far, hearing from the interview from Javi before, talking to a lot of the guys over there, I think some of them are saying they're going to fight, some of them are saying they're not going to fight. So I think we're just going to keep it safe and keep pushing as much as we can, and hopefully they can start fighting at the beginning of their stint. So,
is there a potential for the Falcon team to get involved as well?
Yeah, we hope so. Unfortunately, we had a slow down very early in the race, so we're trying to correct that small error. But the guys right now are pushing like hell.
Nice one, Wayne. Well, thanks for your time, and well, maybe we'll bring you back up a little bit later on if it gets a little bit closer. But good luck for the rest of the race.
Thank you.
Let's head back over then to Alex and Nico.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Michael. Good to have you with us as well. So, there we are. There's the number 20 car, and you can see that at the bottom of the screen, you can actually see the current running time of the lap. But now, it's getting a bit closer still, Nico. Chill Blast aren't out of the woods quite yet, my friend.
No, absolutely not. And if they start actually fighting, I don't think neither is Dirt Esports.
No, I think it's got to be a clean, fair battle. They'll all have racing respect for them, and that is the first time I've seen the gap go down to under 0.2 of a second. It was coming up the hill into Remus, now out of Remus and on the run down to Schlossgold. This is where we could see a pivotal change in the race, but that depends on what Razor decides to do. Did they decide to go for the move, or do they wait, bide their time, use the strategy? Because as we both know, Nico, a lighter car when it comes to fuel load is a faster car.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's less weight, there's less G-forces pulling you to the outside.
Luke says, let them fight.
But they have one big advantage right now, fighting each other here. Other than, Razor having an advantage that Chill Blast just dipped their tire into the gravel. But if you are fighting someone on track, you want to fight someone who's predictable, and who's more predictable than the person that you're basically training all the time with, the person that you prepared for this race with, or, you know, the number one car that you have prepared against because you saw, okay, these two guys are working like this together, these two guys are doing this for their lap time, they have this tendency in this corner, and the more you practice, the more you get to know your teammates. And with them running this close together with no hiccups really, you can just see, no, even if they're competing against each other, there's a layer of trust.
But what they've now got to do is very soon they're going to have to deal with some back marker traffic.
And they're fighting as well.
Yes, and this is Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue battling away with Racing Lab Esports. This is for 6th position. Now 6th position will give somebody 1,100 euros, as in one of these two teams, as they make their way down through into the right-hander at Red Bull Mobile. Turn 10. Here we go. First big move for a very, very long time. And Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue make it through on Racing Lab Esports, the team from Norway, who are demoted down to 2nd position. But at the back, well, not too far behind, well, a little bit further back, there will be the battle between Williams Chill Blast and Williams Razor for the overall race lead. That gap is now fluctuating anywhere between 1/10 and a half to 2.5 tenths of a second at its very best.
Absolutely, and you can really see the confidence now that Pro Sport has found again. Honestly, after the disastrous start they had, it's great to see that. Really just great recovery drive. As we said, though, there are stage points in this. So they will have to look a little bit, how quickly they can further get up in the positions, but for now, there's about a 40-second gap. So right now where they are, I think they are quite happy.
Yes, indeed. And on lap 77 of 116, Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue overtakes Racing Lab Esports for 6th position. So that will be a very, very good day in the office for the number 17. The number 19, however, the Pro Sports Sim Racing Red Crew down in 12th position, 3.2 seconds ahead of Reiter Engineering, with Renvelten Esports having taken 2 trips down the pit lane for exceeding incident points. And the Porsche is scarpering away from the BMW. And that now means that, well, I'm now seeing that Grid and Go are starting to respond. It was a 1:30.870 for Racing Lab Esports and the BMW. The Mercedes of Grid and Go, Stefan Mosch Stiftung 001, has just done a 1:29.941. They were 8/100ths quicker in the opening sector. And still, I'm keeping an eye on the sector times between the top two. 21.794 for the race leader, 21.751, that's sector 1. 38.8 flat for the leader in sector 1. Sector 1 for P2, 38.864. Now that gap is really sort of, it's ebbing and flowing. And when they cross the line after 77 laps out of 116, the gap between Williams Esports Chill Blast and Williams Esports Razor was exactly 0.169 seconds. This is going to go all the way down to the wire, because I'm sure that with maybe a couple of laps, maybe 4 to 5 laps to go, they're going to go, right, now have at it and go to battle.
Not just that, we have to keep in mind again, I saw them post their lap times a couple of times now in the last few laps. And while they're still running very consistently and close together, they are slightly slowing each other down, I think, because it's just a human instinct. When there's a car close by, if there's a car directly in front of you, you still have to offset your braking a little bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously on the brakes, you have less drag, less to slow you down, brake a little bit earlier. You can't just rear-end another car, let alone your teammate.
True.
And the guys behind, obviously, always have one eye in the rearview mirror. That's going to be distracting as well. And here we are again, 29.3. I want to see what esports count us with. 29.0 once again. They're slowly creeping up and getting closer.
Gap now between second and third has dropped to 4.3 seconds, and it's being eroded away.
That
But
was
now-
at 8 seconds once.
It was at 8 seconds. They've nearly halved that gap, but here's the move. This is going to be a change for the race lead. From 4th on the grid to 1st on lap 79 through Remus. Williams Esports Razor now take the lead.
Yeah, very clean move, waiting their time, and I think perfectly timed here with lapping one of the Mercedes. And the tricky part now is they're catching up to, I think, one of the battles in the field.
Well, consider this. The number 10 did a 29.947 on the first sector. Door Esports were over 2/10 quicker. That gap is now eroding. It's like a landslide at the moment. It's literally falling into the water like nothing. 3.7 seconds. A minute ago, it was 4.2. So they are catching lap after lap, sector after sector by at least a good 2 to 3/10 of a second. This now becomes a 3-horse race for what will be the concluding effort here at the ADAC SimRacing Expo and the final race of this year's ADAC GT500. It's Williams Esports Razor, Williams Esports Chill Blast, and here comes the cavalry in the form of Door Esports.
28.9. And
That's-
despite the overtake, though,
Yeah.
congrats, well, props to Williams Esports Razor for a 29.0, despite overtaking and despite lapping. So
Yeah.
we're seeing the, so to say, they were only fighting at 10% of their true strength before, and now the gloves are off, I think.
Oh yes, let cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. But now that gap has expanded to 4/10 of a second. Now, Williams Razor did a 1:29.0. Chill Blast 1:29.7. And then it was the 1:28.938 from Door Esports in the Mercedes. That Mercedes is starting again to really pick up pace. We're into the final hour. So we've just been racing for just over 2 hours. There are 36 laps to go. Next set of scheduled pit stops due to happen in around 10 laps time. Now, by that move happening between Williams Esports Razor and Chill Blast, that gives the number 9 the advantage in the pit stop phase. Because Chill Blast can't say, oh yeah, we're going to pit first. They can't do that now. They can't hide from it. Because now Razor have got Renvelten between themselves and Chill Blast. And now the gap is expanding. And what that's going to do, again, is going to put Door Esports a little bit closer to Williams Esports Chill Blast. This is tactical from the Razor crew. They used this to great effect last year when we were racing at Monza. And now again, they're trying to get past the Asetek car, but now they're getting impeded ever so slightly. But they're using it. Well, it might not be impeding. They're actually using the toe slingshots towards the left-hand side, and that's the Razor car through. The Absolute car stays to the left-hand side, the right-hand side. That means that Chill Blast get through. But this is now getting interesting, Nico, because we've got 35 laps to go. Pit stop starting in about 9 laps time on lap 90, and then it's going to be a flat-out sprint around the Red Bull ring right up until the end of the checkered flag.
Absolutely. I thought for a second he was going to start bump drafting the back marker there. He was getting so close and just not pulling out. So really nice action there, getting quite close. But also the gap has gone down to 3.4 seconds now from P2 to P3.
Last 2 or 3 laps, it's been a high 1 minute 28.9 for Door Esports. Gap between the top two now expands to the best part of just over 0.8 of a second, a 1:28.8 for the race leaders, a 1:29.1 for those in second position. And Door Esports might be having to combat some back marker traffic. The gap back down to 3.4 seconds. So they've managed to get things sorted out in the meantime. Falcon Sim Racing team round out the top 4. Thomas Enger Sim Racing in 5th place. But at this pivotal moment, what happened a few laps ago, when the pair of Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sirica, the defending digital GT500 champions, got the move done on the sister car, and now are going to start pulling away.
I don't think that the Chill Blast car will want to let them do that just if they have something to say about it. It's going to come down, really who makes no mistake, who hits the pit limiter perfectly, hits the pit box perfectly, who just does everything without any mistake now. And these 0.8, either they, get reduced to a lower gap, or they lose a second or something. That's the problem with these situations, because they stand a little bit wrong in the pit box. I think every person that has tried this, that has done this in iRacing before, or also in ACC, park a little bit wrong. You get a lot of time loss.
Yeah, well, Grid and Go are starting to close in on Racing Lab Esports in the battle for 7th position as they made their way through Remus, now on the way down towards Schlossgold. This is going to get very interesting. I mean, Racing Lab Esports were battling away with Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue for 6th position, lost the position to the crew, but time for another interview. Let's head back over to Luke on the stage.
Thank you very much, Alex. I am here with Chris Bauer, who is representing Falcon and Durr. So you've got 2 horses in this race.
Talents in sim racing, but he's 18 years old, and to get him motivated is really a big problem. But if he's doing training and he's getting prepared very well, you see what he can do, and he's now the fastest guy in the whole field. And yeah, that's his talent.
How likely is it that he's going to catch up, though? That's the big question. Do you think it's going to happen?
We will see. I don't want to talk too much about the strategy because the others are listening. So it could work, but I think maybe the last stop will decide the race, I think.
Are we going to have a grandstand finish here for the GT500?
I hope so. We do our best to catch the Williams. We don't want to give them the win too easy, but we will see.
Nice one. Thanks for your time, mate. Back over to Alex and Nico.
Thanks a lot, Luke. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good to see you again. It's been a long time since the last one, and good luck to the teams at Door and Falcon. So, the gap has now expanded a little bit, funny enough, between Door Esports. Of course, that back marker management, when it comes to traffic, really, really does show how difficult it is when you have, okay, yes, we've got a 14-car grid. We're skating over that one completely. Reiter Engineering, nochmal schwarze Flagge, Leute. Another black flag. Third of the race so far.
But the first black flag not by Rennwelten, I think, right?
I know, yeah, well, yeah. It's Reiter Engineering who cop a black flag. Ah, hello, Mr. Gamer Muscle. He's doing his filming. Nice work on the YouTube channel, by the way, buddy. So we've got quite a lot of people, but yeah, Reiter Engineering. I think your good friends over there might not be so happy now that that's happened. So that's another black flag. That's the third one of the race, and 2 teams have copped it. But we're getting to that point in the race now where drivers are going to start feeling a little bit of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because they're racing for 3 hours. This is we did actually, there was one actual, I don't think it wasn't an unrealistic request, but it was slightly unusual. This is a 2-driver team event. So you take turns. You normally will split the driving. But we did have actually one team who did request whether we could accommodate a 3rd driver. And I think they said it wasn't going to be that much of a problem, to be honest with you. But now we're seeing, I think Chris Bauer, credit to that man, said, yeah, I think the final pit stop will decide it. Well, when we hit lap 90 in 5 laps time, folks, this is where we will see what Chill Blast is going to do. Are they going to blink first? The current history of the race pretty much says yes. But what might Razor do? Might they decide to pit at the same time?
They could decide to cover them off, but
yes.
I don't know how effective that would be. Like their biggest advantage would be to run as long as possible, so they have the shortest pit stop possible for them. If they try to pit earlier, obviously to circumvent the problem of back markers being in their way or something, as was with Razor in the first pit stop attempt, they would essentially throw away the one big advantage that they have.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
It's very, very difficult. The 2 Ferraris at the front, obviously, they ran a lot longer than the 2 Mercedes in 3 and 4. So they really have to decide now what wants to be their priority. Do they want to fight for P1 and P2? Do they want to make sure to cover each other off, but maybe run into danger of getting closer to the esports car?
Considering the fact that Williams Esports Razor and Chill Blast have just set lap times within 3 1,000s of each other. 1:28.941 by the race leader, 1:28.944 for second place.
And then 1:28.955.
Yeah, but the thing is that Door Esports at the moment are hemorrhaging a little bit of time. That gap has now gone up by over a second.
Yeah.
Pro Sports Sim Racing Red set their fastest lap of the race on lap 84. 1:29.386. And I think it was that move that we saw earlier on when, considering the fact that Alessandro and Moreno were in the Razor car last year, but they went with Merc. This year, they've gone with the 296. A very different animal in comparison with a car that has a honking great big V8 in the front of it that powers the rear wheels. But now they go to a mid-mounted, rear-wheel drive, twin-turbo V6. And I actually had a chat with Danny Lafuente earlier on, and I said, how does it feel? He said, yeah, it feels pretty good. He says, I don't like the look of it, though. the thing is that when a new car comes out on a racing simulator, you get all these people go, yeah, we love it. And then you get those that go like, oh, I don't like it. And then they'll tell you why. Or they'll just go, yeah, that's just ugly.
I mean, I do remember when the 296 came out for ACC, we planned to do a charity event. And we had quite a few people signed up in the 296. And then accidentally, on race day, they found out, oh, actually, we can't do driver swaps because it crashes your game.
Ah.
Yes. So Kunos had to fix that afterwards. And our event got turned from a 12-hour into a 6-hour race.
Yes. That's not what you want to hear. Yeah, when you install this mod or you install this update, that happens. It is one of those things that, you know, there are always current refinements and updates that do tend to happen. And it's part and parcel of it. It's part and parcel of the living in a sim racing world, so to speak, where you have the highs and you have the clear frustrations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sim racers also, you know, as a sim racer myself,
yes,
I know that, you know, we like to cry about, you know, oh, we have the hardest job in the industry because we have to drive, we have to perform on the limit. I'm pretty sure the programmers have the worst part because, like, their biggest progress.
Sorry to cut across you. This is the battle for P10. Get closer, being hustled along by the number 69 of Absolute Motorsport. They were nigh on front to rear bumper coming out of the final corner. Now through Nicky Lauda, up the hill through towards Remus at turn 2. The Ferrari right on the back bumper of the Mercedes-AMG GT3. Now through the slight left kink up the hill. It's going to be hard on the brakes.
Not quite possible.
Yeah,
Yet.
well now, get close to make a mistake. And Absolute Motorsport number 69 gets through. That was for 10th place. And Get Closer Racing have got to start fighting back on that one on lap 88 of 116. We're a couple of laps away from the last set of pit stops being taken place, and Grid and Go in on lap 88. That's a couple of laps earlier than I had anticipated, considering we did see some teams coming on lap 30, lap 60. So we probably will see a little bit more activity happening in the next 2 to 3 laps of this race. But after this, it's about who can maximise the pit stop. Door Esports decide to go in now. Razor and Chill Blast stay out and are lapping within 5/100,000ths of a second of each other. Renvelton have gone in. Falcon have gone in. So now this is going to give the opportunity to Williams Esports Razor and Chill Blast to stretch an advantage, which will be further exacerbated by the fact that Door Esports and Falcon Sim Racing have pitted. Thomas Enger Sim Racing are staying out. Are they chancing it and going for third?
I am thinking they're pushed for quite a long time. And at that point, a very quick shout out to Falcon as well, because from the lap times, it seems, despite having that little wall tap at the pit exit the last time round, that the rear damage hasn't been that heavy, so they could keep going without any big impediment, which is just, you know, nice to see. But I think they have been pushing for...
well, they do have passion, but they have been pushing.
Also, yes. For a very long time, they've been pushing on the limit, so I'm thinking...
Car behind has got brand new tyres on it, has got a full set of fuel, has got a full tank of fuel on it, the 77% version of it. Oh, actually, on the Mercedes, it's 76, as you rightly corrected earlier. So Get Closer Racing are now in the pits on queue on lap 90. So we will see how much longer Razor and Chill Blast stay out. That's going to be the crucial thing here. How much longer will they decide to stay out on the circuit and give them the best window of opportunity possible? So, yeah, it's a difficult one to call, isn't it, Nico? Is when they're going to decide to pit in, because they're on the 91st lap of this race, and well, nochmal eine schwarze Flagge, meine Damen und Herren, dritte dieses Mal bei Renvelton. So third black flag for Renvelton. That's another pit stop in the offing, and that's the lowly drive-through walk of shame. You know what? Still, you have to give them credit for carrying on no matter what is thrown at them, especially when it's a black flag.
For sure. I mean, you know the old saying, all good things are three, so maybe just going for the completionist
Like Woody and
run.
Kleiny do on Instagram. It's like everything comes in threes. But now we see another team going to the pit lane. It's Thomas Enger Sim Racing from third place. So that's now going to put Door Esports back up into P3. So the number 18 I'm tracking at the moment is currently still sitting in pit lane, as the number 20 is making its way through the final corner And that is going to be third again for Door Esports. They were, as I said earlier on, they were very, very close to getting a podium last year, but they missed out Ren Velton in the pits for their third. Yeah, and that was from the left side of the commentary box, because I haven't seen a couple of Ren Velton t-shirts, but hey, at least we get to look at that wonderful livery. So now things are changing around again. So Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, I don't think have pitted. They might have gone for a longer, like the old 3000 IQ strap that normally everyone talks about. They've
Is that coming from behind the pillar, like at the Ren Velton?
no,
sorry.
they're in the crowd. Thanks for joining us.
They've infiltrated us so far now.
Yeah, but I have to give kudos. You know, they've come into this. They're having fun no matter what happens. Am I right? Good. That's what I like to hear. Fun. It doesn't matter what happens. We're here to have a great time. But we are coming down to what will be the last 24 laps of this race. It's getting rather exciting because Razor and Chill Blast have yet to pit, and we are very, very soon going to be seeing whether more drivers are going to be making changes. There's been a change for 8th in terms of the 69 Absolute car getting past the 88 for 8th position. But let's head back over to Luke on the stage. Over to you, buddy.
Well, welcome back to the stage. We've got a very special guest here, and apologies if I mispronounce your name here. Sagan Akin Olugbade, founder of SimRacing Nigeria. Did I get it pretty close?
Close enough.
If you could just give a little explanation as to who you are and what you're doing here at the SimRacing Expo.
Right, my name is Segun Akin Olugbade. I am the founder of SimRacing Nigeria. About a year ago, I was given the opportunity to thoroughly embarrass myself at the FIA Motorsport Games as Nigeria's first ever entry at an FIA sim racing event. I knew that I wasn't going to do well. I was so badly out of practice. I just moved house, hadn't been on a rig in 6 months, but I thought this could be an opportunity. Nigeria is not known for motorsport, and some racing titles don't even feature Nigeria. Thank you for thanks to Assetto Corsa Competizione for doing so, because I was able to race at the games as Nigeria, and I'm also able to have that on my livery at home. But yeah, we're not known for racing, so I seized this opportunity to put Nigeria on the map, and out of that was born SimRacing Nigeria. We are an 80-strong community. I believe we are the biggest sim racing community in Nigeria, and I stand to be corrected. I would love to be corrected, because it means that there are more Nigerians racing, and that can only be a good thing. And we've grown from just me to 80 people. Of those 80, maybe 25% of us maybe have a rig. And yeah, we're just trying to race and have fun, and it's great to be here at the expo, and it's a real honor to be on this stage as well. So yeah, that's who we are anyway.
First of all, don't downplay your achievement. To represent your country, no one can ever take that away from you. So well done on doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are your objectives with this initiative?
If you just think back to any aid video you've seen of Africa or Nigeria or any country that is poor, don't see poor children. There could be an Einstein, there could be a Michael Schumacher, there could be a Lewis Hamilton that just doesn't have an opportunity. And I want to put that opportunity in the hands of as many Nigerians as I can. This may be through racing cafes where people can go and access this equipment, or it could be because I have been able to put racing equipment in people's hands through my 3D printing skills, where I can build something. There's so many videos on YouTube where people show how you can build a DIY racing racing wheel and racing pedals, and it's really just to, as I've been hearing, democratize sim racing and even democratize it for as many Nigerians as I can. We're 200 million people. We should be racing. You know, as I said earlier, there's a Michael Schumacher out there. There's a Lewis Hamilton out there. There's somebody out there that's going to be on a podium in either F1, touring cars, GT3, you know, whatever it is, IndyCar, and they just don't have the opportunity right now. I want to give it to them.
Yeah, you can absolutely hear the passion in your voice here. Where can people find you?
We're on the web, simracing.ng. We're on Twitter, simracing_ng. I understand it's no longer called Twitter now.
We all still call it Twitter.
We're on Instagram, simracing_ng. And if you also search SimRacingNG on Facebook, we're there as well. Or you can search for me, Segun Akinolugbade, SEGUN, and AKIN-OLUGBADE. You can find me there, and you can link me back to any of those profiles.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time. Let's head back then to the GT500. The final pit stops are done, or scheduled pit stops are done. 11 seconds, maybe a little bit more separating the top 3 teams. Back to you, Alex and Nico.
Thank you very much, Luke. And now we are on lap 95 of 116. So the final pit stop phases have been completed. It is a run to the checkered flag to see who will be crowned our 2023 Digital GT500 champions. Williams Esports Razor, the defending champions, the partnership between two fantastic Italian drivers, Moreno Sorica and Alessandro Bico, leading the way by 4.2 seconds. Ahead of the pairing of Daniel Lafuente, aka Lightning Lafuente, when I talked to him behind closed doors, and Sami Matti Trogan, real-life BMW driver with Valkenhorst Motorsport. They're 4.2 seconds behind. Door Esports running at the top 3. Falcon Sim Racing team, Thomas Enger Sim Racing ran at the top 5. Great work by Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, and that is the number 17 car. That started 12th on the grid 96 laps ago. Incredible performance by them. And we've got gridandgo.com esports with the Stefan Marsch Stiftung that they're helping with regards to them this weekend. Racing Lab Esports, though, are closing in on the 001 Mercedes for that 7th place. There's the race leaders. Their advantage has been slightly truncated to around 3.8 seconds. And, well, Moreno, I've just been, thanks to Adam at Williams, he's given me the 411. He's just WhatsApped me and said, Moreno's in the car, the Razor car, to bring it home. It was Alessandro last year that brought the car home. It's going to be Moreno to bring it across the line. But, again, despite the dramas for this crew in the qualifying race 2 we had earlier on, getting dumped down from 4th to 10th with a post-race 15-second time penalty, they've weathered the storm and they've had the perfect strategy. When Chill Blast pitted on lap 93, their advantage was 44 seconds. That was enough to get the car in, short dab of fuel, new set of tyres, get the car out, and it was 6 seconds up the road.
Yeah, I honestly didn't expect the gap to be this big after the pit stop, but just absolutely incredible drive from them. Nothing really to stop them now, and I mean, except maybe their teammate's car, you know, if they have something to say about it, because, as you said, he's there to bring it home, and Chill Blast with their last lap time seems to be still in a rather fighty mood, despite being 3.5 seconds away. The last lap was, what was it? Half a second faster.
Yeah.
So that could get quite interesting.
It could do, because there's 19 laps left in this particular race, and this will conclude not only the racing stages of the ADAC GT500, Digital GT500, but brings us very quickly towards the close of this year's ADAC SimRacing Expo for 2023. It's been a real pleasure being here in the Ruhrgebiet here in Western Germany. But Racing Lab Esports, again, are closing in that gap. Just a couple of laps ago was 6/10. Now it's under 3. And the Mercedes might have a little bit of a fight on its hands, even though we do see in the background Reiter Engineering, who are one of 2 teams that have copped a black flag. Renvelton, I have to say, love their spirit. You know, like I said, are you here? Are you having fun? And they went, absolutely. That's exactly what we want to hear from teams. They're here to compete. Okay, yes, they're competing for prize money, but ultimately, the main reason is to bring people together, to have a sense of community, and to enjoy laughter with each other. That's very, very crucial, and that's what this event is meant to represent.
Yeah, of course. And I think the special thing about the LAN events is not only do you compete with them, online as usual, but after the race, when everything is said and done, you're close to each other. You can go to each other, congratulate each other, celebrate with each other, and this here is, another personal component. I think, for example, Reiter and Renvelton, I think their stands are basically right next to each other.
Yes.
So, yeah. It's always this sort of thing. A couple of years ago, I did a LAN event, and a friend of mine was racing in a GT3 car. I was in an LMP1, and I was coming up to lap him. Last moment, he basically just pulls over into my line, and I almost crashed because of him. And I just look over to him. His rig is right next to mine, and I'm not kidding. I turned over and I just shouted at him, "Kian, what the hell are you doing?" And he replies with, "Sorry, mate, I thought you were a tree." And ever since then, that's been a quote that's always getting repeated. Shout out to Kian Donaldson, by the way.
It sounds like an insurance advert all gone wrong, doesn't it? In the virtual sense. But again, Racing Lab Esports in that BMW 3-litre inline 6 M twin power turbo behind the 6.3. Now, V8. But I think the thing is, Grid and Go were able to get the traction down, and then the BMW was able to catch, and because it's a lighter vehicle, obviously less mass displacement underneath that bonnet of it. And I think there's still a lot of people that are very much undecided on whether they like the front of that BMW M4. Form does follow function, and I think when I watched a video about the M4 the M4 road car, when they explained it, I thought, actually, I can understand why it looks like that, but I don't think, it's like, I understand the principle, but the application is something different, isn't it?
I just find it funny looking.
Yeah.
It has handlebars at the front, so, if the jacks fail, you can just pick it up. And, it's like a pig. It has these huge nostrils. But the thing is, overall, like having such a huge car, but very, very light, is actually not a dumb idea, because the wider you have a car, the more you can exploit mechanical grip. The longer it is, the longer the wheelbase is, the more stable it's going to be for like faster corners.
Yeah, well, 16 laps to go, folks, here at the Red Bull Ring. There is the race leader. That time is coming down. However, the time has come down. It was about 6 seconds on the exit of the pit stop phases, but now we're at 3 seconds. Make that 2.8 as Moreno Sarica, who's bringing the car home across the line in about probably about the best part of 45 kilometres when we hit 116 laps. The gap now 2.98 seconds. Moreno Sarica was just under a tenth and a half quicker than the Chill Blast car. Door Esports, well, they pitted before both these cars did, and that has actually effectively costed them the opportunity of the race win, but they are 19.2 seconds behind, ahead of Falcon Sim Racing team with Thomas Enger Sim Racing. I'm looking at their lap times. They just did a 1:29.481, and the Falcon Sim Racing team 44 Mercedes just did a 1:29.560. So 8/100ths separating them. Now this is where we've got 15 laps to go on this race. The gap's now down to 2.8, and that was nearly 3/10. That was That was a big old margin. That was over 3/10, taken out of Razor by Chill Blast. So we still have a race on our hands here for the actual win in the main feature race.
I gotta say, I feel a bit like a troll, because my last thought wouldn't it be fun if we had a safety car right now? Just everyone on top of each other again for the last couple of laps.
Oh. I've got 2 words for you. No comment.
I mean, Javier is looking over here. And, he is laughing, I think it's more of a concerned laugh.
That's the laugh that's like, no, I don't want one of them right now, please.
No, thank you.
No, only if it's on the penultimate lap and you get the you get the perfect picture, eh, Javi?
Yeah, but either way, I think actually, if they are fast enough, Williams Esports Razor might be catching up to our battling pair here.
Yeah, well, it's Razor leading Chill Blast. So we've gone over a century of laps here at the Red Bull Ring. We're about to very soon complete, well, we are completing now, lap 101 out of 116. So 14 to go to crown our 2023 ADAC Digital GT500 champions. And no one team so far in the history of this event has yet to defend the title, and that is around about 27 minutes away from becoming a reality. But still, we are continuing to watch the battle with gridandgo.com esports, Stefan Mosch Stiftung versus Racing Lab Esports. And that BMW is getting a little bit closer, again under braking, as Renvelton Esports. Oh, don't tell me. I've got. It's another. Oh,
number 4.
It's for Renvelton, I'm afraid.
Another one cuts the grass.
Oh well. At least we can say that they're the winners in another aspect. How many black flags can you get in a race? And Renvelton will go, hold my beer.
We've got the drive-through podium, Renvelton, first place, unbeatable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love their spirit, carrying on, They're just here to have fun now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. A big part of the German sim racing community, Renvelton. It's good to have them with us. So, but still, this battle is really going to go down to the wire on lap 103 or 116. I think, that gap is coming down again. The number 9 car, the Razor car, 1 minute 29.408. And the Chill Blast car, a 1:29.237. So now that gap is 2.1 seconds and dropping. Every single sector. It was a 22.063 in sector 1 for the race leader. Second position, 21.901. That's a 1/10 and a half more that they've just taken out of it. It's going to fluctuate from time to time on there as such, but that just goes to show how quickly things can change. You could say, yeah, we've got great pace, and then all of a sudden what then happens is the team behind goes, right, we're not letting this go. We've been leading the majority of this race. Okay, fair play, you did a good move, but now we're going to fight you out on the circuit. Yeah. That's the key point. Williams Esports Chill Blast do not want to make it easy for the defending champions in the Razor car. They want them to fight for it. Last year they did fight for it with Team Redline until Redline had the return to garage. So now this is a straight up dogfight. We've got 12 laps to go, and again that gap is now dipping. It's under 2 seconds. Under 2 seconds, and they've just taken over 4/10 out of the race leader.
And it's 12 laps left.
12 laps left. Hold on, folks. It's going to be a roller coaster, but for one final time, let's head back to Luke.
Well, that's pretty exciting, isn't it? The gap is coming down at the front. A little bit further back, though, we do indeed have the Absolute Motorsport Asetek teams at 69 and the number 88, 88 being the best number in racing of all time. I'm joined here with Andrea Della Valle. How's it going for you guys?
Since 1 hour ago pretty well with Alessandro on the 69 in P6.
Nice.
Then he had 40 seconds hold on pit stop because he cut the entry, so he loses a lot of time. On the other car, we have a lot of contact in the first lap with Sven and the other BMW of Remveld. So we have a lot of damage on the front. The car is not pointier like we tested, and also on the straight it was slower than the default car. So for us, now it's difficult. 1 hour ago, it was pretty much perfect for us.
So it's probably best if we don't talk about the race itself then. Let's talk about the Expo. How have you enjoyed the Expo in 2023?
We enjoy a lot because we are here as exhibitor with our sponsors. So we took our team and our sponsor here in Germany. It's proud by ourselves to be like this. And we take every sponsor that we have that produce single components. So we have Axelite that produce steering wheels, Camus produce wheelbases, Restec build the rig, and then SRP build the pedals. So we can have the completed build rig by our sponsors and give their imagine here at the world pretty much, because there people came from America, Canada, South America. I spoke with people coming from Mexico yesterday, so it's pretty astonishing to be here as exhibitor, yeah.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Where can people find you? What's your website?
Website is absolutemotorsport.at, or you can find axelite.com, srp.com, or camusracing.com.
Nice one. Well, I can tell that Alex and Nico are getting very excited here because the gap is coming down. It's 1.6 seconds now between the two Williams cars. Let's head back over to our commentary team.
Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you very much, Andrea. Good luck for the rest of the race. So 1.5 seconds is now the gap with 11 laps to go. Here at the ADAC Digital GT500, the current reigning and defending champions, the Williams eSport Razor pairing of Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sirica have got a dogfight coming their way, and it's thanks to the sister car. Chill Blast with the pairing of Dani Lafuente and Sami Matti Trogan. They are pushing every single lap of this race. 10 to go. 106 out of 116. Nico Hillebrandt, this is getting rather exciting. Stop biting your fingernails before I forget, or you...
Oh, I'm not biting my fingernails.
It looked like you were.
No. Luckily not. That's a habit that's hard to drop when one's stressed. But basically, Chill Blast has been really pushing on the limit. Last couple of laps, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths faster a lap, even though they were behind traffic, and you have to love the tenacity there. But at the same time, Razor, they're probably thinking, guys, we've won this though, right, guys?
Yeah, it is getting a lot closer. Every single sector. They matched each other on sector 1. Yeah, sector 2, Chill Blast was quicker by just over a tenth.
Javier's on the stage, he's sweating nervously now.
Javier, stop hyperventilating. You'll be fine. This always happens when you're a team manager as well.
Yeah.
But it is getting closer, 1.1 seconds, as we now head on to lap 107 out of 116. It is getting closer and closer to hitting the end of nearly 500, just over 500 kilometers of racing here at the Red Bull Ring. This is getting even more, and there's more anticipation. And looking at the lap time, 1:29.2 for Razor, 1:28.8 last time around. Let's head back over to Luke.
We've got a very nervous Javi. Well, are you nervous? I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. Always nervous in these situations.
Well, since we got up to the stage, it's actually gone down by 9 tenths of a second, so it is coming down massively. Are they allowed to fight? That's the big question everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I've heard that question not only for you, like for many people in this Sim Expo, but I mean, they are allowed, obviously they are allowed. We will see if at the end of this interview we have already some overtakes, but obviously they are playing different games in terms of strategy, so I mean, hopefully if they fight, they will do it in a good way, and we can still achieve the P2 and, P1 and P2.
Nice one then. Just under 10 laps to go. Thank you for your time. Go and enjoy your teammates.
Thank you.
Getting involved. Let's head back to Nico and Alex.
So, as big thank you for Javi for coming back onto the stage again for a quick chat with Luke. Gap now under 0.8 of a second. We're very fast approaching 8 laps to go, which is about 32 kilometers. This is where things are going to get, I think, exciting for us. Nervous as hell for Javi from Williams. But you know what? I'm really, really glad that we're going to settle this out on track. And he said, yeah, you guys are allowed to race. That gap now 0.6 of a second. And another nearly 0.4 of a second taken out of the race leaders. It's coming down significantly. And that's another 10th and a half in the first sector. Taken out of the race leaders. You can see now that Chill Blast are hungry and they want to go for it, but Razor will defend their honour and their pride as current reigning GT500 champions. This is going to go down to the wire, Nico.
Oh, this is going down to more than just the wire. Look at how close they are getting right now. Another half second already taken out this lap. It's 0.4 or less than 0.4. So I think they're going to start attacking soon. However, we saw already before in the numerous races today, getting close is one thing, getting past is another.
Words uttered by the late, great Murray Walker, of course, who, if he was still alive, he would have been a centenarian. He would have celebrated his 100th birthday. But now, we see this dogfight. It's 0.4. Make that just over 5 as they go through Hint. Now into Red Bull Mobile. Lap 108 completed of this circuit. Now we've got this and a few more laps to go. The drivers have been toiling over this particular circuit that opened back in July of 1969, has 10 turns in its current variation, measures just north of 4.3 kilometers, and that time is coming down. 21.763 in the first sector for Pete for the Chill Blast car, 21.9. The benefit of the doubt for Chill Blast is they have got the slipstream, but they've also got the dirty air to contend with Nico, and they've got to contend with another team that will make the rear end of that Ferrari as wide as humanly possible in the dying stages of this main race.
And that's going to be a really, really difficult one to get past. Obviously, you also have to hold back a little bit. If you don't do it for us, obviously, or for your teammates, do it for Javier. I feel sorry for the guy.
Well, that's the thing. When you put two teams with equally capable individuals behind those steering wheels, expect something like this. We ride on board with the number 10, the Williams Esports Chill Blast car. The gap is again fluctuating underneath 0.2 of a second as they accelerate and then head into braking zones where that advantage then goes in favour in the car in front.
And the gap is going down again.
This is a great shot just to see inside what's happening. So down to second gear, rotate the car, bump over the curbs, don't run it wide. Gap now just over 2.5 of a second. Gap between second and third has now expanded to around 9.9-10 seconds. Up towards Remus. And Chill Blast looking for the move up the inside. Are they going to get it done? It's going to be side by side, wheel to wheel, with 6 laps to go. Chill Blast retake the race lead here at the Red Bull Ring. But now, the hunter becomes the hunted.
That's going to be rough for them. Razor couldn't counter there. They got slightly stuck on that outside sausage curve, I think. That just cost them a lot of traction. But I don't think that he's just going to go back down and leave it at that. He wants to be the first defending champion, and you see already. Now, you would think, hey, the view is exactly the same, but, you know, the rear of the cars are similar, but the front obviously different for each team.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's the same machinery, but they will have a different characteristic setup that will complement both drivers, who will know they'll have worked towards this event. They'll have found out, okay, what car are we driving? Okay, let's get it set up for the pair of us so we can work well together. But Chill Blast now leading the way, and that gap is opening up. And that gap, that has gone. That's a 129.272 for the new race leaders. And for the car in second. That was a 1:30.165. That was nearly a pendulum swing of a second in the change of the race lead. Back to 7th we go. Grid and Go versus Racing Lab Esports. 4/10 separate them.
Yeah, still fighting. And once again, a shout out to the Stefan Morf Stiftung for the appearance here. Absolutely fantastic. I think it's important that programs like these do get looked up.
Exactly.
And for me it hits also quite personal because, as I told you already, I've lost a couple of friends and family to cancer. One of my relatives still has cancer at the moment. So yeah, if you guys are here at the SimRacing Expo and you have interest in it, want to do something well, just sign up with those guys.
Yeah.
Talk to them, and you could help out a person.
Especially when it comes to stem cell cancer treatments. My mum actually has had non-Hodgkin's and lymphoma, and on the 3rd it was so severe that they actually had to do state-of-the-art stem cell treatment at St Bartholomew's Hospital in London. So that is a worthy cause. So if you haven't already, just go over there, get a mouth swab. That will then be able to see if you can assist to help with ongoing new and innovative stem cell research with regards to cancer treatments. So 5 laps to go, and the gap now between first and second position is 7.5 tenths of a second and climbing. But what I have noticed is that Williams Esports Razor are not resting on their laurels. They are pushing as hard as they can. They were the last team, if I remember correctly, Nico, to serve a last pit stop in this race.
Yep.
Still keeps them in the mix because they've been pretty much, it was a 21.8 by both respective crews, separated by about a couple of hundredths of a second. But this is where it now starts to, the pressure of leading the race. We've seen it. It can happen to the best of anybody. And I did see that earlier on this weekend at the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS at Circuit Zandvoort. But I'm not going to let you in on that because I watched it. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody else. But
I just find it very entertaining right now because the Chill Blast guys, they're probably happy with the lead. They're still pushing, evidently. But at the same time, they're probably looking ahead and thinking, okay, Racing Lab and GridandGo.com, please don't hold each other up too much, because having to lap a fighting pair in the last couple of laps, that's the last thing they need right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you've just made there, Nico. Now the gap between Dort Esports and Williams Esports Razor has dropped. It was at 10 seconds earlier on, about 5 to 10 minutes ago. It has now dropped to 8.7 seconds. Racing Lab Esports are still trying to close in on Grid and Go in 7th position. There they are, and there are the race leaders. You were right with what you said, that they are closing to lap them, as we're about to, next time around, have 3 tours to go. So that's just over 12 kilometres to put us over the 500 kilometre mark, 500.89 kilometres to be precise. So that is, this is going to be a very Writer Engineering have just been given their second black flag, I've just been informed, through track limits. So who's going to outdo first? Well, we've only got 3 laps to go after this one. So Ren Velton is going to win the Wooden Spoon Award for most black flags awarded here today. But now this is going to be the sprint to the finish. 12 kilometres to go, and Razor are not. They need to take at least what Chill Blast were doing after the last set of pit stops.
Yeah. They would have to get this second win that they just seemingly got out of nowhere after the pit stop. I was honestly really worried directly after the pit stop, because the gap had gotten so big. I couldn't have imagined that the Chill Blast guys basically just cracked their hands and decided, okay, let's get serious then.
They are serious because they've now expanded that gap, and that's getting up to a second now.
Yep.
That is crucial, because now Williams Esports Razor, the defending champions, Okay, this is very much a carbon copy. It's going to be a Williams Esports 1-2, so Williams Esports as a collective will be the first team out of anybody to take 2 titles in a row at the ADAC SimRacing Expo for the digital GT500.
Or in general, to take 2 titles at all, not just
Well-
in a row.
well,
like
look-
back to back, it just feels even better, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it would be a true back-to-back if Sarika and Biko were leading. That would be
Yeah.
a true back-to-back. Because looking at it from this perspective, Orano Esports didn't win. They won it in 2021. Those 2 drivers, Louis Naza and Daniel Pastor, who are part of Williams now, finished second the following year. And the same has happened again. Williams Esports Razor won last year. They're going to finish second. We've got 2 laps to go, including this one. And our race leaders are making their way up towards Remus. So we're on lap 115 out of 16. And that gap has now expanded. 1.3 seconds and climbing. They're heading over to Schlossgold. But what's going to be the penultimate time? We started proceedings at around 10:30 this morning, and at 5:25 p.m. we are just a lap and a half away from crowning our 2023 ADAC Digital GT500 winners. Considering the fact that Danny Lafuente was actually in the team that took second in 2021, great character, always got time for him. And he's got a great partner in crime in the form of Flying Finn, Sami Matti Trogan. And this is where... So now, ladies and gentlemen, the final lap of the ADAC Digital GT500. 4.318 kilometres of the Red Bull Ring starts now.
And that is just honestly very, very impressive from them, getting this far here. Obviously they had a lot of chaos at the start as well, and getting from that, collecting themselves, and obviously defeating their teammates' car, because the one team that you always look out for first, if you have a direct opponent in your own team, you of course want to be the better team car.
That they do indeed, as out of Remus for the final time heads the number 10, the Ferrari 296 GT3 of Williams Esports Chill Blast. Again, for the 2nd year in a row, it has been the Williams ADAC SimRacing Expo once again. But you know what? They thoroughly deserve it. They've been around for 5 years. They continue to strive forward for success, for glory. And again this weekend, they have shown it in spades. This is when it counts the most, because when this car comes across the line in just a few seconds, we're going to have some very, very respectful outgoing defending champions, and a new couple of names will hit the honour roll here at the ADAC Digital GT500. Penultimate corner now beckons for the number 10 of Williams Esports Chill Blast. One more corner remains, and the checkered flag comes out. It's 2 in a row in 2 successive years. This year, it's Williams Esports Chill Blast that takes the feature race in the Digital GT500. And you know what? Gallant runners-up for Williams Esports Razor, Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sarica. Boys, congratulations, mille grazie, well done. Dor Esports picks up a podium for the first time in ADAC Digital GT500 history, if I remember correctly, and that is correct. And their sister team, the Falcon Sim Racing team, come across the line to finish 4th. Absolute Motorsport Aceless 69 finishes 9th. Reiter Engineering in 13th. Great effort by Thomas Enger's Sim Racing team. Showed good prowess in the professional trophy yesterday and take 5th in the feature. And you know what? I think this car deserves a round of applause very, very shortly when they cross the start-finish line, because gridandgo.com, Stefan Morsung Stiflung, showcasing not only the sim racing community, but helping to advance in cancer prevention with the 2 entities joining forces. Pro Sports Sim Racing Blue, they get a chapeau from me. That was 12th on the grid to finish 6th. And here comes Grid and Go out of the final corner. The 001 Mercedes across the line takes 7th ahead of Racing Lab Esports, Absolute Motorsport Aceless 69 in 9th, and the 88 rounding out the top 10. Get Closer Racing, despite only getting onto iRacing 2 days ago, finish in 7th. And then we've got the sister, it's the Pro Sport Sim Racing Red Car. Then we have the 76 of Reiter Engineering, and of course our good friends over at Renvelton rounding out the finishing order. But Williams Esports, for the 2nd year in a row with 2 different lineups, secure the ADAC Digital GT500. Folks, on behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and my good friend and compadre, my co-commentator Nico Hillebrand, it's been an absolute pleasure being able to call you all through the action, over through the Asetek SimSport Community Trophy, the Professional Trophy yesterday, and the Digital GT500. Nico, you're going to be smiling all the way home, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this has been an absolutely unforgettable weekend. It's been absolutely one hell of an experience. I still don't know how to properly put it into words. I'm going to read up I'm going to read a couple of dictionaries to find more words to describe this when I'm back home. But yeah, just so many friendly faces, meeting a lot of people for the first time, and also friends that I haven't seen in ages. So, you know, SimRacingExpo, always an absolutely fantastic event, no matter where it is. But I think we have a fantastic location here now in Dortmund.
Yep.
And yeah, especially for international travelers as well, you know.
It means that there is a safe foundation for the SimRacingExpo.
Absolutely.
In the years to come. Of course, there are your race winners. The pairing of Flying Finn, Sami Mati Trogen, and of course the Spanish matador, Lightning Lafuente himself, Danny Lafuente, taking the win here for the ADAC Digital GT500. After 2 qualification races, we then had a 500 kilometre, 116 lap race around the Red Bull Ring. Another new venue to add to the roster for the ADAC Digital GT500. So we are just getting things prepped and ready for the presentation that will be taking place on stage as all of our teams. So, but I think great representation of manufacturers. Great to have the teams here on site with us competing, not just from the team boxes, but also from the booths. So they have all done a very, very good job. I mean, Nico, the action's been fast, it's been plentiful all over the course of the weekend. Next year, we're back here in October 2024. Bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're also going to see, you know, just looking from the amount of people that we had here over the weekend, it's way more than I've ever seen in past years when I was there. So I think it's a very good choice here. Hopefully we have, you know, more teams joining us as well next year, because it's just an absolutely fantastic event. I have a lot of people here as well showing off their new hardware, and for me it's just amazing. I'm without words to just see one of my biggest passions, you know, just keep growing and growing here.
The only thing I'm going to have to say, Asetek SimSports, Andre, you need to put a silencer on that V8 because we had multiple panels over the. Or was it? Poor old Chris Hannibal was doing about sim centers, and I think at least 5 or 6 times I counted that V8 LMP3 being revved up and making a barrage full of noises, but then everyone else started getting in on the party as well.
One of the Porsche as well, wasn't it?
Ah, right, okay. I was wondering what the other car was that was the underlying culprit, to be fair. But yeah, I think it's really, really good that, you know, we've got such a great depth within not just the community, but obviously with the exhibitors. You know, we have to say a big thank you to every single one of them. We've got some of the big players here. We've got some of the smaller operations that really showcase that it doesn't matter what size your stand is, you are here and you are welcome.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just great. I'm just looking forward to what 2024 is going to bring. You know, there's a lot of developments that are going to happen in the next 12 months. The technological advancements. I'm really looking forward to hopefully seeing a lot more products. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get underway with the official presentation of the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2023. So I'm now going to hand over to Luke and Matze on the stage. Over to you guys.
Thank you very much there, Alex and Nico.
Oh, yes.
An incredible GT500 race there.
What a race, right?
Yeah, Williams, again, proving to be one of the very best, and the SimRacing Expo seems like a home for them.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy how they stay focused all the time until the end, and then this tremendous ending 6 rounds before the end, like overtaking. Crazy. Really, really good.
We've got some beautiful trophies here to present to our team. So in third place, it was DIR Esports.
Give it up for them, DIR Esports. Congratulations. So, of course, this is your trophy, guys. Congrats to you.
Do you want to have any pictures?
Yes, smile now. You also are allowed to come in front of the table maybe and just show up there.
You can stand wherever you want, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, copy. Let's hear it one more time then, ladies and gentlemen. Third place, DIR Esports.
Yes, congratulations.
Congrats, lads.
Thank you. Cheers.
And in second position, one of the Williams cars, we've got Williams Razor.
Give it up, and this is your trophy. Congratulations, mate. Congrats. Now pictures for you.
Well done.
Yes, perfect. Make sure you look in all the cameras. Great. Give it up.
And the winners of the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2023 GT500, Williams Chill Blast.
There you go.
There you go. Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations. Yes, go in front of the table, of course.
And whilst they are in camera shot, there's no better way to end the show there. Stay on the stage, please, lads. An incredible, incredible weekend.
Oh man, it was amazing. We just enjoyed it so much. From our side, I think I can speak for both of us that we enjoyed it a lot over here at the stage with you guys in the audience right here in Dortmund, also with you guys in the stream. It was just amazing. For you as well?
Yeah, it was a really, really cool weekend. It's been hot up here, mind.
Yeah.
I don't look like I've lost any weight, but I think I have. It's been horrendous.
I'm not quite sure, to be honest, but let's see. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year, indeed.
From our point of view, we have to say thank you to pretty much everybody. Thank you so much to the exhibitors for making this even possible. Thank you to Messe Dortmund. Of course, to everybody behind the scenes. The sound, the lights, the everything. Everybody who was working and not been seen yet should be mentioned now. So thank you so much. We appreciate your work a lot. All the visitors, of course, who were here in Dortmund, thank you for coming. And also at the stream, thank you for tuning in and watching us, because actually this is what we need, right? We need you as visitors, we need you as the community, and we want you, of course, to tell everybody that this was wonderful, hopefully as wonderful as for us. So please, please, please make sure you tell everybody, and you come back next year. Next year, Expo 2024 is going to be from 18th to 20th of October, and we are really looking forward to it, right?
We absolutely are. But that is it from us. So from the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2023, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.